stay on the air with you for an extra 2 hours after every Arizona football and men's basketball game all season long. That's why we are the home of the Wildcats. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Time for the hot weather polar bear promise. Alaskan AC arrives in 1 day or your repair is free.
Wait, say that again?
We arrive in 1 day or your repair is free?
Again, but longer on the A.
We arrive in 1 day
Or your repair is free. Hear it?
No.
Alaskan AC, service guarantee. We arrive in 1 day.
Or your repair is free. By George, he's got it. With the Alaskan AC service guarantee, we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Are we really doing this?
That's awesome, Gary. With Alaskan AC service guarantee.
We arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
We should probably...
Sing with us, William.
I would really rather...
Come on.
I don't want to.
Chicken bok bok.
Guys, no.
It's catchy.
Do it.
Sing out, Louise.
Fine.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Whoa.
Whoa is right.
Can we get back to work now?
Schedule anytime at alaskanac.com.
Incredible.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice, attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice, LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, 29464.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
It's no longer what could be or what might be. Now it just is. The 2024 Boston Celtics are one of the greatest teams in NBA history. They were told they had to win. There's only one thing you can do when expectations are that high. Meet them. And there's only one way to stop being haunted by the ghosts and the legends and the champions atop this building. Join them.
And that's what the 2024 Boston Celtics have done. They have joined the legends of that town and of that green and white jersey as they dispensed of the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games with a resounding win in game number 4 for NBA title number 18. It goes all the way back to the first in 1957. They were the dominant team of the 60s, winning titles in 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. The only year they didn't win a title in the 60s was the year I was born.
Billy?
That's a good question. Sure.
I think it was Philadelphia, wasn't it?
Well, we'll have to see. 68, 69, and then their run of dominance ended until 1974, 76, 81, 84, 86, and then 2008, and now 2024. As the game has grown, it gets harder to win titles in the duration and then the frequency as they did it in the 50s and 60s, the late 50s and the entire decade of the 60s, but still one of the premier franchises in the National Basketball Association. Now, this is interesting. I don't know if you've been listening to a lot of Infinity Sports Network the last few days, but I think it was Bart Winkler in particular who basically said, 18 championships on paper, but really only 5. When you really go back to, if you look at the modern era of NBA basketball, I mean, to me, the modern era period of sports, I would say really begins around 1970. That's how I determine the modern era of athletics. You may have a different determination of when the, quote, modern era began. I say 1970 just because I think that's kind of, that's the beginning of the decade where I think there was a lot of change in the way sports operated in terms of finances and salaries and those types of things. So if you go by that, then of course, this is a franchise that has won 7 NBA championships in that era.
You know where Bart Winkler's from?
Milwaukee.
Yeah, exactly. Consider the source, right?
Exactly.
I got a crazy stat for you. So in the first half of my lifetime, New England sports teams won 6 championships. I'm talking 25-year period.
Okay.
6. You want to take a guess how many they've won in the last 25 years? 28.
Wow.
So the UConn women, believe it or not, only won 1 championship before the year 2000.
Right.
The UConn men won 1 championship before the year 2000. Both of those teams have won, the women have won 10, and the men have won 5 since the turn of the century.
Wow.
But you think about the Red Sox, we all know about that drought, that curse, whatever. How many have they won in the last 25 years? 4. How many did the Patriots win before the year 2000? None. Right? Pats have 6 now. 6 titles. So between the Celtics, Pats, Bruins have won as well. UConn men and women, 28 championships in the last 25 years.
It's a lot of winning for those folks. A lot of winning for you if you are a New Englander. It's been a very great century for those of you that cheer for the teams from the New England area.
And they spread it out, too. All 4 professional sports leagues involved.
Did we find out who won that title in 67?
Yeah, it was the 76ers.
Philadelphia 76ers.
That was the one year where, like, Malone and, was it Cheeks and those guys put it together? And a lot of people...
No, wait.
No, Mo Cheeks was later, but
much later.
I remember that team was thought to be one of the best rosters and starting 5s ever.
Yeah, that would have been the Wilt Chamberlain 76ers and the Hal Greer 76ers back in the day. Yeah, the only thing that stopped the Celtics was Wilt Chamberlain. That's not surprising.
Right.
Not surprising whatsoever. So let's see. How many so in that era, and this was one of the reasons why people debate this. In that era, there were 6 teams in the Eastern Division. Okay, we're not even talking conferences at this point. 6 teams in the East, 6 teams in the West. So there were only 12 teams in the NBA in 1967 and 1967,
right.
68, that season. That's crazy to think. Crazy to think that there were only 12 teams in the league at that point. Now there's 30? There are 30 teams in the league?
Yeah, soon to be more.
Original teams still around from that era? This would be an interesting question. How many of the 12 teams that still existed in 1968? Philadelphia, Boston, the Knicks, the Pistons. That was 4 of the teams in the East.
It was Fort Wayne initially, right?
The Fort Wayne Pistons?
Yeah.
Yeah, way back in the day. But they had gotten.
Well, I mean, it's like are you including the teams that initially were part of the league but moved?
Just where they were, the city they were in in this particular year.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then Los Angeles Lakers, Chicago Bulls, Seattle Supersonics, and San Francisco Warriors.
Right.
So the teams that no longer exist that existed then, the Cincinnati Royals, well, okay, so the Baltimore Bullets were in the league, so they technically just moved down the street to the nation's capital. So they were in the league. The San Diego Rockets and the St. Louis Hawks. The St. Louis Hawks actually won the Western Division. I would imagine St. Louis moved to Atlanta. That's probably how that went.
Isn't St. Louis considered like the gateway to the West?
It is.
So how is that?
How are they in the West?
How are they in the West if they're
because all the rest of the teams that were in the
because there's only 6 teams in each division. That's the answer, right? Yeah.
There you go. There you go. 520-848-1290 is our number if you want to get in on the program. The Boston Celtics, 18-time titleist, and it was a Pac-12 youngster that made a big shot at the end of the first half of this game.
Point for the rebound. Here's Pritchard. He loves these. Puts it up these. Half go to the buzzer. Bang! Pritchard at the buzzer with a three-pointer. He's done it again.
I think Peyton Pritchard just kind of, maybe that's his role. Just practice half-court shots. And we're going to put you in with about 5-6 seconds to go. We can get a rebound, and you can try that.
I don't know Peyton Pritchard as a human being, but having followed him on the basketball court now for 10 years, I will tell you what I do know about Peyton Pritchard is that he is clearly falls in that gym rat category he loves nothing more than the game of basketball. Now, when you get to this stage of your career, DK, and you're 6'1", and maybe don't have the quickest of foot speed, Peyton Pritchard's role, outside of injuries to starters, is to come in and give some kind of instant offense if he gets a good matchup. But don't you think that in his current stature in the NBA, that practicing half-court shots at the end of quarters is probably something that he's probably, first of all, always done because his range has always been. But I think in these last 3 or 4 years of his time in the NBA, famously, he talks about not giving a damn about those percentages because a lot of players in the NBA these days, when you think about bonuses, you think about your contract, DK, is set up so you got to shoot 37% from 3. Well, if you're taking half-court shots at the end of every single quarter as a starter, those add up after time. So a lot of times people will not take those shots. Pritchard loves them. Lives off them.
Yeah. Speaking of living, I once lived in a horrible little place in Michigan called Grand Ledge. I maybe have spoke about it before. I lived there for about 3 months. Could not stand it. Could not. Little bitty kind of town outside of Lansing.
How would you rate the ledge that the town is named after on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would not rate it as grand.
No, not grand. Probably not.
No. The only other person I've ever heard of from Grand Ledge, Michigan, is a guy by the name of Al Horford, who wins his first NBA title.
Not only, DK, did he win his first NBA title, do you know the distinction that he had before last night? 16-year NBA vet.
Right. Most playoff games without a title?
Exactly. Most playoff games ever played, current players played without a title. 186 was the number of playoff games that Al Horford had played without a title. Any hazard of a guess as to who now owns that distinction? It'd have to be an older player who's clearly had success but never cut the nets down.
Oh, man, that's a great question. Let me see. Oldest player, never won a title. I'm trying to think of maybe some good teams.
He has at least one MVP.
At least one MVP.
I think 2 scoring titles, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Oh, God.
We also don't like him.
We also don't.
On principle alone.
Oh, so it's okay. So it's got to be somebody from Duke then, maybe. Or
closer
UCLA. Maybe somebody from
or even closer than that.
Arizona State. Oh, Oh, Mr. James Harden.
Yeah, 166 playoff games for James Harden without a title.
Wow.
So he now holds that distinction as the most playoff games without a title for current active NBA players.
How many active? So how many did Charles play?
Ooh, playoff games?
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. Because I would imagine he's the guy that comes to mind when you always think about great NBA players who never won a title, but who was always, a lot of times was in the playoffs. So I would have to think he played quite a few without winning a title.
It would have been, Jerry, rest in peace, if he hadn't gotten that one, right? Because, he made, did he go to like 9 NBA finals without one until they finally got that one?
Yeah.
Charles Barkley, let's see. The brackets I have are not not good.
We'll get that. We'll get to that and find out how many playoff games Charles Barkley. In fact, if you weren't with us yesterday, that was our question of the day, because Charles Barkley announced that he is going to retire from television after the end of the season next year, when it is likely believed that TNT is going to lose the rights to the NBA broadcast rights. So do you believe, this was our question of the day yesterday, we'll wrap this up because it has just gone final, the voting has concluded. Charles Barkley, do you believe that he is going to walk away from TV at the height of his career? The final voting on this came out 50-50. Folks believing, yes, he's pulling no punches. If Charles says he's going to retire, he's going to retire. No, this is a total free agent play, because why would Charles Barkley walk away from television at his most probably highest earning potential point of his career?
Believe it or not, Charles Barkley played in significantly less playoff games than James Harden, which makes sense because back in the early days,
there weren't as many rounds.
Yeah, well, it wasn't as many games because it was best of 5. It was first to 3 in the initial 2 rounds, wasn't it? And then they changed it so that all the series would be best of 7. But and I remember when Charles was in Philadelphia, at least, in those era. I don't remember exactly the year they changed that, but yeah,
so I was going to say, did he play over 100?
123.
123. Okay.
123 games in playoffs in his career.
All right. Good stuff. All right, it's DK on the Sports Tip. We've got a lot coming up for you today. We'll dive into the rehash. We'll hear from the winners of the NBA title, the Boston Celtics. We'll also hear from the losers, the Dallas Mavericks. There is another Game 5 tonight. The NHL season may come to an end as the Florida Panthers now have a chance to go home and win one in front of their fans. We'll dive into that. Diamondbacks download after an off day. The fellas have an early start coming up here in about a half an hour out on the East Coast playing the Washington Nationals. Also, we are going to talk some Arizona football today. Robert Portnoy is going to join us. Old colleague from my baseball days in the Pacific Coast League when he used to be the voice of the Albuquerque Isotopes. He is now going into his 14th season as the play-by-play announcer for the University of New Mexico Lobos. And that is the team on the top of the schedule for Arizona. But primarily today, we'll get his thoughts on the transplants from Lobo land that have landed here in Arizona, particularly the running back, Jacory Croskey-Merritt, a.k.a. Bill, and, of course, the linebackers coach and former head coach of the Lobos, Danny Gonzalez.
I do, real quick, to wrap this segment up, have an answer as to most games played in the postseason without a title. I think I probably should have known this.
Yes.
Because, I lived through it. But it's Stockton and Malone.
Wow, yeah.
Think about it. How much success they had as a duo. Malone had slightly more playoff games because obviously he went to L.A. and Stockton retired. 193 games played for Karl Malone playoff-wise without a title.
That's a lot. That's a lot. All right. Christy is back with us today, getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. We have some slowing on eastbound I-10 between Ina and Orange Grove due to a disabled vehicle, and also some slowing for eastbound I-10 between Speedway and Congress. We also have a couple speed enforcement zones in the area of Camino Seco and Broadway, and also 6th Avenue and Alameda. Today's high is 102, overnight low 75. Tomorrow, hot, sunny, and 106. Currently, it is 101 at the studio. And I'm Christy with Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. At Cool Willie's Air, they'll help with any of your air conditioning needs, always keeping you cool. Trust the big guy. Contact Tucson's most respected air conditioning experts at coolwillies.com, where they are big enough to help and small enough to care. That's coolwillies.com. coolwillies.com.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Working on my hockey lingo.
You're
my
doing that.
jargon.
You're learning quick. Do you know what icing is?
I love icing. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, it's the best part of hockey, isn't it?
Don't miss out on all the fun.
Caruso's, a Tucson tradition since 1938, located on historic 4th Avenue. For 4 generations, Caruso's handmade sauce has been prepared with love by a family member, using only the best ingredients. Enjoy specialty Italian dishes like lasagna al forno, chicken tetrazzini, real Italian sausages, spectacular pizza, as well as many vegetarian options. Caruso's offers outdoor dining on their garden patio, with indoor dining also available. Open Tuesday through Sunday, with all your favorites available for takeout. For more information, call 520-624-5765 or visit their website at carusositalian.com.
Time for the hot weather polar bear promise. Alaskan AC arrives in 1 day or your repair is free.
Wait, say that again?
We arrive in 1 day or your repair is free?
Again, but longer on the A.
We arrive in 1 day
or your repair is free. Hear it?
No.
Alaskan AC, service guarantee. We arrive in 1 day
or your repair is free. By George, he's got it. With the Alaskan AC service guarantee, we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Are we really doing this?
That's awesome, Gary. With Alaskan AC service guarantee,
we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
We should probably
sing with us, William.
I would really rather.
Come on.
I don't want to.
Chicken bok bok.
Guys, no.
It's catchy.
Do it.
Sing out, Louise.
Fine.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Whoa.
Whoa is right.
Can we get back to work now?
Schedule anytime at
AlaskanAC.com.
Incredible.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. A letter in your mailbox says you could save money bundling your home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. You saw it after your teenager backed the car into the mailbox. Dumb news. A new mailbox, basically a box on a stick, costs up to $400. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and go with paperless mail instead. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice, attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice, LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, 29464.
Wildcats fans from coast to coast can bring a little bit of Tucson to themselves wherever they happen to be by streaming 1290 on our website at wildcatsradio1290.com. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is our number. You can call us at that number to get in on the program today. You can text us as well at that number to participate in this show. Again, the Boston Celtics are champions of the NBA for the 18th time after a 106-88 victory in Game 5 of the NBA Finals as they wrap up the series against the Dallas Mavericks, winning it by a score of 4-1, 31 points in the ball game by Jason Tatum, 21 for Jaylen Brown as the Celtics and their fans celebrated last night on the parquet floor at TD Gardens. Let's hear a few of the highlights from that game last night. Celtics also had 15 points in that ball game from Drew Holiday. Derek White had 14 points as well. And on the Dallas side of it, 28 points for Luka Doncic as he played 43 minutes in that game. Also had 12 rebounds to go along with 5 assists. Kyrie Irving would finish with 15 points. He had 5 of 16 shots, 3 of 9 from three-point land in his final game of the season as the Mavericks fall a little bit short of winning, or at least trying to extend this series back to Dallas for a Game 6. Let's hear a little bit of the trophy presentation after the ball game.
To the Boston Celtics, congratulations, an NBA record, 18 championships. To Wick, Steve, Bob, where's Brad? Congratulations on assembling an incredible team. Coach Mazzulla, where are you? You did it. Unbelievable. And to the fans, thank you very much. Without you, we wouldn't be here. And now it's my honor to present to the Boston Celtics the 2024 Larry O'Brien Trophy of the NBA Championship.
Joe, what makes this group so special?
First of all, obviously, for us, for me, our faith is the most important thing. Number one, we got the best fans in the world. The best fans. There's nothing better than representing the Celtics and being part of history and taking on the ownership and the responsibility. And we're nothing without these guys right here. These are the most important people, the players, their families, and everything that they do, and we're nothing without them.
Again, the expectations were high all season long, but how did you help them understand that embracing those expectations could be a strength and not a weakness?
I mean, you get very few chances in life to be great, and you get very few chances in life to carry on the ownership and the responsibility of what these banners are, and all the great people, all the great players that came here. And when you have few chances in life, you just got to take the bull by the horns, and you got to just own it, and our guys owned it.
Thank you, Joe. Congratulations to you.
Bill Russell would be so proud. The 2024 Bill Russell Finals MVP goes to Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen.
Yeah, you earned that.
What does holding this trophy mean to you?
It was a full team effort, and I shared this with my brothers and my partner in crime, Jason Tatum. He was with me the whole way, so we shared this together.
Jaylen Brown in the postseason averaged 24 points, 6 rebounds. He is the Finals MVP.
You know what's crazy is Jason Tatum did lead the Celtics in points, rebounds, and assists for both the playoffs and the Finals. Had more points, more assists, and more rebounds than any other Celtics player in both the playoffs and the Finals. Obviously, the defensive effort, I think, especially on guys like Luka, is where Brown gets the nod. And efficiency from the field. Obviously, Tatum didn't shoot so great these last 3 or 4 games, But yeah, I think he's only the 6th player ever, DK, to lead a team in those 3 categories in a run to the championship.
520-848-1290 is the number if you'd like to chat about the NBA Finals and the end of this NBA season. Let's talk to Rob. You're on DK on the Sports Tip, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I was just listening to not only you guys, a bunch of other chatter, and a lot of the people are classifying there's only 6 teams in the NBA, and there's the players were shorter. It's like, but that applies to every team that played in that era. The Yankees won all these World Series. It's like, yeah, but they didn't have to play, let's say, Anaheim or Toronto. So it should just be a championship because everybody had the equal opportunity to win that year. It's not like there was a special advantage.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said I think, the 18 titles is the 18 titles. You win with what's in front of you and what the league is that you're in at that time. And obviously they were the most dominant team of the 60s and the 50s, the late 50s and the 60s. And all of them, I mean, despite the fact, like we had mentioned in the first segment, there were only 12 teams in the league at that time, but they were the best. They were the best of those 12 teams.
Let's not overcomplicate this, okay? There were 12 teams at the time. Only 1 team drafted Bill Russell.
Yeah.
End of story. Right? I mean, you put Bill Russell on any of those other 11 teams in the league, and the Celtics don't win 9 out of 11 championships or whatever that was. That's how effective he was at rim protection and rebounding.
Point well taken.
Getting those fast breaks. I mean, a lot of people don't understand, like Red, and he basically invented the fast break. Mm-hmm. I mean, those Celtics teams in that era, they were playing a style of basketball nobody had ever seen before, and they could do it because of Bill Russell's ability to protect the rim and rebound and outlet to those guards, Kuzi and so forth, who would get the break started. That's why they won all those titles. They were playing a different game than everybody else.
And as we mentioned, it took another Hall of Fame big in Will Chamberlain to keep him from winning every title of the 1960s.
Yep.
Rob, anything else for you today?
That'll cover it well. Job well done.
All right. Thank you, Rob, for
Thanks,
your
Rob.
call. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Jason Tatum on finally achieving the ultimate goal.
I dreamed of this moment of like what it would be like. It's 10 times better than what I ever could have imagined. You guys know, like, you go through your career, your long season, the ups and downs, you got to hear what everybody says on TV, and it's all about getting to this moment. And I've been on the other side. I know what it feels like to lose. It's the worst feeling in the world. But I think going through that made this a lot better.
How does that drive you, those sleepless nights? Because everybody talks about this part of it. Nobody talks about those nights when you're up all night and you didn't get it done. You don't want to be bothered. You don't want to eat. You're in the dark. How does that drive you? People need to understand how that has driven you, because I watch your growth, and it has to be due to some of that, like you just said.
No, absolutely. I've been to the conference finals 5 times. I went to the finals 1 time before, twice before I got to the finals. I lost in the finals. And it's like you work so hard and you get so close and you just like, you're not getting over the hump. And like you said, sleepless nights, summers is long. Because now you plan 7 weeks longer than anybody else and you don't have anything to show for it.
Yes.
That was the worst part. But now I do. Now I got a trophy.
Yes, you do, Jason Tatum. You've got a trophy indeed. Jason Tatum is, he hit some big shots in that ball game.
Tatum, 2 dribbles with the right, hangs in the air, runs it off the window and in. Timeout, Jason Kidd.
Whose house is this? Whose house is this? Jason Tatum's house.
Yes, indeed, it was Tatum's house.
Real quick to follow up on that thing I was saying about Tatum leading the Celtics in the 3 main statistical categories, DK. He's the 6th person to ever do that on the way to a title, the first one to not win MVP. So the first was Larry Bird in 84, Akeem Olajuwon in 94, Tim Duncan did it in 2003, LeBron did it 3 times, 2012, 2013, 2016, and Joker did it last year. All 5 of those players won MVPs in those seasons where they were in those runs, should I say, where they led the team in points, rebounds, and assists, but not Jason Tatum this year.
So what was the biggest reason then that Jaylen Brown got the vote?
Tatum's shooting kind of fell off a cliff at the very end of the Eastern Conference Finals and into the NBA Finals. And Jaylen Brown always took the strongest assignment defensively. So, for instance, last night you might have heard the clip where they're up by 20, and Jaylen Brown was heard telling Mazzulla, don't take me out until they take out Luka. So they're up 20 in the waiting moments of the game, and Jaylen Brown still wanted to stay in just to prove that I'm here, I'm 6'8", I can move my feet, try to get around me. I think really his intensity on the defensive end and the fact that he was so much more efficient especially from deep late in the season, late in these playoffs.
And again, he finished with 31 points in the ball game to go with 8 rebounds and 11 assists last night as the Celtics wrapped things up over the Dallas Mavericks to win the 18th championship of their existence in the National Basketball Association. We'll hear a little bit later on from Josh Green, who played in his first NBA Finals, the Arizona Wildcat.
Best game, DK, last night. Best game. I mean, they were down like 14-6, and Josh Green came in off the bench and hit his first 2 threes. That's not what he's known for, but Josh Green played a hell of a game last night.
Well, and he got a lot of playing time down the last 3-4 ball games of this series. Played 22 minutes last night. Hit 4 threes, ended up hitting 4 threes in the game, finishing with those 14 points for the Dallas Mavericks. And it'll be interesting. We always talk about, what's the future of some of these guys that were in that one-and-done class for Sean Miller in terms of Josh Green and Nico Mannion and the likes. Exactly. What's the future of those guys in the NBA? Right now, it looks like Josh Green might have the highest ceiling in that respect. It'll be interesting to see now if we, and I imagine we probably will see him on the Australian national team for the upcoming Olympics.
I mean, he was ready to defend at the NBA level from day one when he left the U of A campus. It's just his outside shot and his decision-making off the dribble, which he's really improved on quite a bit. When you got Luka as your teammate, only Kyrie for these last 12 months or so, 18 months. But Josh Green just needs to focus on knocking down open jump shots like he just did. When you're playing with Luka and Kyrie, you just have to defend at the highest possible level you can with your hair on fire, knock down open looks. Every once in a while, if you see a double on Luka or Kyrie, put the ball on the ground once and find one of those big 7-footers for lobs like Kyrie and Luka are all the time. And Josh Green's got a very bright future in the NBA, no doubt about it.
All right, we'll talk some Arizona football straight ahead. We'll find a little bit more about one of the top running backs who came out of the portal and is headed here to Tucson this season. He calls himself Bill Merritt. His full name is Jacory Croskey-Merritt. We'll chat with the voice of the Lobos, Robert Portnoy, about that and more. Christy is here to get you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. We have a disabled vehicle blocking the left lane on North I-10 frontage road near I-10 eastbound, causing quite a bit of slowing for eastbound I-10 from Cotero Farms Road past Orange Grove Road. We also have a couple speed enforcement zones in the area of Camino Seco and Broadway, 6th Avenue and Alameda, Houghton and Rita, and Cushing and Maine. Today's high is 102, overnight low 75. Currently, it's 103 outside, and I'm Christy with Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. Shop Macy's Backstage today for amazing deals on everything you need for summer. Get low prices every day at Macy's Backstage. Find a store near you at macy'sbackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily.
Are you ready to adopt? Come to the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. When you adopt from us, you will save more than one life. You'll also make room for the next pet in need. The Humane Society of Southern Arizona has been compassionately serving pets and the people who love them since 1944. Our knowledgeable adoption matchmakers will help you find the right pet for your home and support you after you adopt. We are open 7 days a week at our main campus at 635 West Roger Road. Learn more and see adoptable pets at hssaz.org.
Make sure you download or update the Wildcats Radio 1290 app. We've got the entire state covered like no other sports radio station in Southern Arizona. Plus, when you have the app, you can cover U of A sports with Wildcats Radio 1290 anywhere and everywhere you go and out of town, too. The mountains, the beach, working out, or maybe even...
Oh, no. Turn that off.
Download or update the Wildcats Radio 1290 app today and never miss a moment of sports analysis. Well, maybe an occasional moment. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Need parts fast? O'Reilly Auto Parts has fast. Need them now? We've got now. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. We're O'Reilly Fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Progressive asks, what do an escaped leopard,
We're live from the zoo where a leopard has escaped.
a growling stomach, an uneaten tuna sandwich, and a backdoor doggy door have in common? They can lead to an unexpected kitchen renovation.
Yeah, hi. Is this the zoo? Your leopard is in my kitchen.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive for great savings and round-the-clock protection.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
That's the sound of steak searing in its juices on your new pellet grill. You heard that right. The Weber Searwood Pellet Grill can smoke low and slow at 180 degrees all the way to a high heat sear at 600. With the Weber Searwood, you can cook on the direct flame over the full great sear zone. You'll hear the gasp of amazement from friends and family when you serve the food. Cooking with the Weber Searwood Pellet Grill just sounds delicious and tastes even better.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290. It's time for our Arizona Insiders.
Am I late? No, my boy, you're just in time.
Each weekday, Wildcats Radio 1290 brings you all the latest news and opinions on U of A football and the Pac-12. So bear down, Tucson, and let's talk Arizona football. Our Arizona Insiders are brought to you by Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
All right, it's very rare that we go outside of our domain for a little inside information on your Arizona Wildcats, but we got a lot of new cats that have trickled into Tucson this year via the transfer portal and via this new coaching staff, and several of them have come from none other than the first opponent on the schedule this late August, as we will get the start in week 0, and that is the New Mexico Lobos. So let's chat with the man that calls the games for the New Mexico Lobos, a gentleman that I am very familiar with from our days calling games in the Pacific Coast League of minor league baseball, where he used to be the voice of the Albuquerque Isotopes. But now I believe, Robert Portnoy, in your 13th or 14th year calling the New Mexico Lobos?
12th.
12.
So, yes, very, very close. I started in 2013. So, but David, man, when I saw your name in my email today, brought a smile to my face. How you doing?
I am doing well, my friend. I am doing very well. Hey, just trying to keep living and keep moving and keep doing what we love, and that's talking in front of a microphone. So let's talk.
For sure.
Yeah, let's talk about the New Mexico Lobos. It's a change there. A new head coach and Bronco Mendenhall. Excitement about Bronco coming in to kind of take over that program.
Absolutely. He is a special human being, a unique one, unlike any coach that I've ever come across in any sport along the way in my broadcasting career, David. I've never seen someone who is so buttoned up. Everything is intentional. Everything has a purpose. The practices reflect that. Spring ball was eye-opening. This will be the most disciplined football team in the Mountain West. I guarantee it. It won't be the best football team in the Mountain West in his first year, but he has succeeded as a head coach wherever he has gone, and I fully expect it to happen in Albuquerque.
So, and what's the feeling in the Mountain West about, obviously, the situation with the setup with the two teams left over from the Pac-12 and Oregon State and Washington State, and how they're going to kind of assimilate into the scheduling there?
Excitement, opportunity, and an eye to the future, David. I mean, I know that we'll eventually talk about Coach Gonzalez, who's now on the staff there in Arizona, and but frankly, I just think that he ran out of time here in Albuquerque. And the reality that these next 2 years in college athletics are so critical on so many fronts, it really boiled down to here in New Mexico that the Lobo football program needed to turn it around, and it needed to happen ASAP. I mean, I don't think there's any question. Everybody would agree that there's another massive round of, realignment coming to college football once the dust settles from the ACC lawsuits that exist with Clemson and Florida State. And I think that league's going to break up in the same way that the Pac-12 did. And there will be opportunity, and there'll also be carnage. And the Lobo basketball program is positioned perfectly. The football program is not. And we know what is king nationally. If the Lobos can get the football program turned around in a short time under Coach Mendenhall, maybe they're a team and a school that receives the benefits, the rewards from the next round of realignment, because there's going to be a new conference forming. You can just see it coming from a mile away.
We're chatting with Robert Portnoy. He is the voice of the New Mexico Lobos. You mentioned Danny Gonzalez, who was the head coach there in New Mexico. He is now the linebackers coach, special teams coordinator here, first season on Brent Brennan's staff. I've only had a chance to interview him and talk to him one time, but a very passionate football coach. What did you like about him, being around him, and what he brings to the game?
Everything. Coach G is a close friend and will always be. That's how we know him in the athletic department here in Albuquerque. And it was probably the single hardest thing to do in that football program in anyone's recent memory to move on from a guy who grew up here in Albuquerque and bleeds cherry and silver. Like I said, the runway, I think, just ran out for Coach G. COVID probably contributed to that because the first 2 seasons he was the head coach here at New Mexico, he was just hamstrung by the restrictions that were placed on the program due to COVID regulations. But that's a completely separate conversation. He is one of the best human beings that I've ever come across in my life, in any way, shape, or form, not just in football, not just in college athletics. He knows the game front and back. He's not just a defensive coach. Obviously, he used to be a special teams player himself. He was a punter in addition to a safety. He has coached special teams and coordinated special teams before. You guys have a great one handling both defense and special teams. He is a true gem. And, I sent him a text when he got hired at the University of Arizona, and I said, "Congratulations, Coach, bear down." And he sent me a smiley face, and he said, "You won't be saying that in August."
That's right. Exactly. The rivalry is back on. I mean, I've said forever, it's like when I first got here, was really the last 2 years that these two teams played during the regular season, back in 2008, 2009. And I always have believed that, these regional games are good, that Arizona needs to play New Mexico more often. They need to play New Mexico State occasionally too, because so many kids from southern Arizona and just really Arizona in all go over to play at those two colleges in New Mexico. So why not, put those teams on the schedule, get some of those kids home to play in front of their home fans and their parents and whatnot. So I'm happy to see New Mexico back on the schedule this year for game number 1 of the Big 12 era for the Arizona Wildcats. And obviously we don't know who our starting running back is going to be for that game. It could be Jacory Croskey-Merritt, who was phenomenal for you guys last year. Walk me through he obviously came over from Alcorn State, when he kind of began to make that move to potentially being the number 1 back for you guys a season ago.
Alabama State. Came from Alabama State and was phenomenal, David. A 1,200-yard rusher, just shy of 1,200 yards. He was 3rd in the conference. He averaged over 6 yards a pop, 4th in the league. He was a touchdown maker, 2nd in the league in rushing TDs with 17 and 3rd in the conference in total touchdowns. I mean, and I should say 7th in all-purpose yardage too. He is a total difference maker. Now, I'm going to give you a comp, but you have to remember that it's on a scale, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Because when we got the word, and everybody calls him Bill, by the way, and you will learn that.
Yeah.
His name is Bill. That's his nickname, but it's his name. Everybody calls him Bill. It dates back to a TV show, a kid show back in the day called Little Bill. And when he was young and he didn't have any hair, all his friends thought he looked just like Little Bill, and everybody thought he looked like Little Bill, and that has stuck since he was a kid. So Bill, Jacory Croskey-Merritt, 5'10", 5'11", right? And you see on the sheet, you see the number says 204, and you're like, yeah, come on, right? This is going to be another small school scat back that can make people miss in space, and he'll probably be a great back, and he'll help us, but really? And then you see him, and I'm telling you, he is a scaled-down version of Eddie George. He looks exactly like Eddie George, just in a little bit smaller package. He's not 6'3", 6'4", but at 5'11" and 205, he absolutely has people bounce off of him like he is stone. His legs are bricks. His upper body is yoked. And he can still make you miss in space and run away from you in the open field. He is a complete back and the best back in Albuquerque since Casey Carrier set all the records here in the Duke City back in the early 2010s.
Wow. That is a statement right there from Robert Portnoy, the voice of the New Mexico Lobos. Robert, obviously, when the coaching change took place, was there a thought that he might stay there, or was it the belief was that he was probably, with the way that college football is now in the transfer portal and guys looking for that next opportunity, that he was probably going to be moving on?
Both.
Yeah.
He immediately got together with our collective here in the Duke City, David. He contracted with them, and he was ready. But everybody knew all along that was, hopeful. It was not an expectation, because we knew that the big boys would come calling. And obviously, since he first went into the portal to explore his options, and who could blame him, right? He was at Arizona, then he was at Ole Miss, and then he's back at U of A, so there were many options out there for Bill. Jacory Croskey-Merritt, I couldn't be happier for him, the person, to get that opportunity. But I am devastated that he's not back for another year in the cherry and silver, because he is a difference maker, David.
All right, and then on the offensive line, let me see if I can get this one right. Shankoe Matatoitia.
Good enough. Shanko Matautia. If you want to shorten it up, he has, because of the Polynesian background, he has multiple names, right?
Okay.
And you can even go on our website right now still and click on last year's roster and listen to him say his name, and it takes about 10 minutes. I adjust only a little. It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. But his nickname is Issei, which is short for one of his middle names. Between the Shanko and the Matautia, there's some other stuff in there from which they pulled Issei, and you call him Issei. Everybody knows him as Issei. I'm going to give you some numbers, because, how do you quantify without advanced metrics, right? Exactly what an offensive lineman brings to the table. So I'm going to not do that. I'm going to give you bigger picture stuff regarding Issei and tell you that he was part of an offensive line that transformed the Lobo offense from one fall to the next. Like, literally changed it 180 degrees. The Lobos, for 2 consecutive years in 2022 and the season prior, they were the worst team in the Mountain West in scoring. They went from 13 points per game to 14 points per game, a massive jump. They finished 11th out of 11 consecutive years. In Issei's final season with the Lobos, New Mexico was not just an average offense in the conference, they were a good one. They scored over 27 points a game, right in the middle of the league at 7th. Total offense, 410 yards per game, 4th in the conference. And the rush offense, nearly 200 yards per game, was 3rd in the league. They transformed themselves, and a big part of it, and you know this, offense, you're talking about the O-line. It all starts with the O-line, and Issei was an anchor at the guard position. I'll give you another one, because a lot of those numbers are rush-related. By the way, the Lobos were 3rd in the league in rush yards per attempt. As a team, every rush attempt averaged 5.25 yards per rush. But how about this? They also were 4th best in allowing sacks, 1.58 allowed per game. 4th fewest in the conference. He can do it all. He's a terrific player.
Now, inside or out? Inside, more guard or tackle?
More inside.
Okay.
Issei's more inside, I think. He can certainly do both. The Lobos move him around, but yeah, he's more inside. New Mexico is 3rd in the league in time of possession, and it's because of the guys up front. And, I think I have this correctly in my memory, but you guys peeled him away from ASU. So props to you for he had originally committed out of the portal Arizona State when he decided to leave New Mexico. So how cool that he's there in Tucson with you guys.
And I can't let you get away, Robert, without talking a little golf with you, because you are a one of the best golfers, I think, ever in minor league baseball in terms of broadcasters, probably. But the chip on 18 by Bryson DeChambeau, is that one of the greatest chips that we might ever see to win a major?
That bunker shot, David, it is all of that and more. There isn't a tour level professional that won't tell you that a bunker shot between about 45 and 60 yards is about the toughest shot that there is on the planet. And to hit a blast shot from 55 yards like he did and knock it, inside of 4 feet, literally with the trophy sitting there behind the green, it's incredible. I at the same time ecstatic for Bryson because I think he's everything other than the fact that he's currently paid by the Saudis, which we can talk about that too at another time. But he's everything the game needs: a personality, someone who is embracing the fans, exciting to watch, engaging, all the things that when he first broke out on tour, he wasn't. He was kind of surly. He was different. He was almost aloof and a little bit odd, and he's totally transformed himself. And I could not be happier for him and for the United States to have a player like him who is at the absolute peak of his powers right now. But I was crestfallen, heartbroken for Rory, too, as well, Rory McIlroy. Because, DeChambeau, a couple holes earlier himself, had his first 3-putt of the tournament and missed a putt inside of 4 feet. It's just that Rory not only missed one, but he missed two in the last 3 holes to lose a tournament he led by 2 with 5 to go. I mean, it was heartbreaking to watch.
We asked this question to our audience yesterday for guys that golf. And I'll ask you, because you play a lot of it, what's your mindset on a 3-foot putt?
Oh, man. David, look, for anyone who has ever played a round of golf where the scores are kept and at the end of the day you're going to sign that card and turn it in like you're playing in a tournament setting, there's nothing like the short putt that matters that you're supposed to make. Like, there's nothing else like that in the sport. You can be forgiven for a mistake from the middle of the fairway, even from 150 yards with all the pressure. And you'll even be vilified for missing the green with a pitching wedge or a 9-iron in your hand. But there's nothing more devastating to a player's confidence than missing putts of the length that Rory missed those 2. One of them, by the way, inside of 3 feet, the first of that length that he's missed on tour the entire year.
Yeah.
And he did it on, 72, the 70th hole of the tournament. It happened on the 70th hole of the U.S. Open when he was leading. So he will come back because he's literally the number 2 player in the world, and he will bounce back. But there will be scar tissue from that forever, David.
Robert Portnoy, he is the voice of the New Mexico Lobos. It is Arizona and New Mexico reunited here in Tucson in late August. We will do this again game week. How about that, Robert?
Oh, I cannot wait. These original WAC rivals playing a game in August to start the season, I'm all in. You just give me a call, send me a text, and we'll talk again, David. It was so cool to hear from you, man.
Outstanding. You too, my brother. Have a great rest of your summer.
Thanks a lot. You too, David.
Robert Portnoy, the voice of the New Mexico Lobos.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
It's DK on the Sports Tip. Much more coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. It's raining today in Omaha. They're not playing much baseball there at the moment. J-Dub is here. Christy is here. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. We're still seeing quite a bit of slowing from an earlier disabled vehicle on eastbound I-10 from Cotero Farms Road to Orange Grove Road. We also still have those speed enforcement zones in the area of Camino Seco and Broadway, 6th Avenue and Alameda, Houghton and Rita, and Cushing and Maine. Please watch your speed in those areas. It is currently 102 outside and hot. Tonight's overnight low, 76. And I'm Christy with Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Let Express Employment Professionals help you hire for contract or full-time jobs. Forget about posting jobs, sifting through resumes, and interviews with unqualified applicants. Go to ExpressPros.com to find the location near you. That's ExpressPros.com.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
It's no contest, Tucson. You're listening to the home of the Arizona Wildcats. That's why 1290 runs this town. This is the one and only home of your Arizona Wildcats.
And you know this, man!
We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Your home for in-depth conversation.
Nothing they do is by surprise. They telegraph what they want to do, and then they brag about it afterwards. It's a way to keep us at each other's throats.
The most pressing issues.
This was just a white on black crime, and you can already see the narrative starting to form in real time.
And fresh perspective.
The air marshals will not be on the airplanes because they're down at the border escorting illegal aliens to their Ubers.
America's most loved truth tellers live on Tucson's home for conservative talk. This is Freedom 1400. We get you so close to the action at McHale, it feels like Wilbur and Wilma are in the car with you. This is the home of Arizona men's basketball. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Tucson has a new chill spot to beat the summer heat. Stop by Jeremiah's Italian Ice on Oracle and Ina for a tasty frozen treat. Try their smooth and creamy Italian ice, rich and delicious, soft ice cream, or a gelati, the perfect layering of Italian ice and ice cream. With over 40 flavors of Italian ice made fresh daily, the choices are endless. And so are the samples. Come try them all and find your favorite combination. Check out their website or loyalty app, The J-List, to see all their flavors and most popular combinations. You'll want to try their newest craze, gelatis with nerds. Any flavor of Italian ice layered with vanilla soft serve and rainbow nerds. Cool and colorful, sweet and sour, creamy and crunchy. Nerd gelatis have it all. Try Jeremiah's Italian Ice today and live life to the coolest.
And this Friday, we've got a sweet deal for you from Jeremiah's Italian Ice. You can get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. And this sweet deal will go on sale this Friday morning at 8:30 at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Dude Wipes presents ASSMR. This is what your butt feels when you clean it with regular, dry toilet paper. And this is how clean your butt feels when you wipe with wet, extra large, flushable Dude Wipes. Ah, refreshing. Dude Wipes. Best clean, pants down.
O'Reilly! Eliminate carbon and varnish deposits with Lucas Fuel Treatment at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply add it to your tank at your next fill-up. A clean fuel system can increase performance and fuel economy. Right now, get 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Treatment for just $9 and get 2 times O Rewards points. In-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SCORE for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SCORE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SCORE.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who who has not one, but 3 first names. David Scott Kelly.
Hour number 2 on this Tuesday. We will not have a show tomorrow as it is the celebration of Juneteenth, the official holiday, June 19th. And we'll come back on Thursday for our 1-year anniversary show. Our first show here was June 20th of last year, 2023. So looking forward to that. And we'll wrap up the week on Friday. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. In fact, why don't you text the word app? Text app, APP, to 520-848-1290. We will send you a little bit of a link, and you can download our app that way, and you can be a part of everything that we've got going on our app. We were talking about the U.S. Open. You can read the story there about Bryson DeChambeau outlasting Rory McIlroy to win the U.S. Open. You can read about Christian Walker and the Diamondbacks, who put up big numbers against the White Sox. In fact, the Diamondbacks are underway. Let's in fact talk a little Diamondbacks, since that game is getting underway right now out in Washington.
Diamondbacks download.
Baseball stuff!
It is the beginning of a road trip after a 6-game homestand for the Diamondbacks against the 2 worst teams in professional baseball. So I said, really, the Diamondbacks, they won both series. That's the most important thing. They took 2 out of 3 from the Angels. They took 2 out of 3 from the White Sox, who came into that homestand and combined 50 games under 500 between the 2 of them. They lost the game on Saturday night. It was a bullpen game, and they lost 9-2. And
Let me guess.
Yes.
For the games that the Diamondbacks lost, did you have your entire fantasy roster, the Diamondbacks' opponents, for those 2 losses? Or how's that work?
No, I don't have anybody on either of those 2
okay,
teams.
just checking.
No. But since you brought up my fantasy baseball team, and I hope my wife is not listening right now because she hates that I do fantasy baseball.
She got better things to do, I'm sure.
But first time ever. So the maximum you can win a game in our league is 14-0. First time I've ever won a game or won a week 14-0. And there's 14 categories for which you can win weekly. Runs, home runs, RBIs, average, on-base percentage, and then pitching is like wins, ERA, save holds, and K per walk average and all that. First time I've ever won all 14 categories.
Like, save some for next week, guys.
Right. Exactly. I'll take it because the funny the funny thing about fantasy baseball, and because I looked at the numbers that I had, my team has been up and down offensively. They have not hit well in a lot of weeks. And the week before, I was playing the second place team, and I lost 9-3. If I had gotten all the numbers that I got this week, last week, instead of losing 9-3, I win 11-2. So it's like one of those things where you're kind of at the mercy of what happens week to week. It's not always very consistent from week to week in fantasy baseball. And that's it. And then you have injuries pop up, like Kyle Tucker, the outfielder for the Astros, is one of my best players. He's hurt right now. So I had to go out and replace him because he's on the IL, and Michael Harris just went on the IL. So I got some guys that are battling some injuries. But in third place right now, so we're happy. Got to finish top 4 to make the postseason. Still about 7 or 8 weeks to go. So still a lot of time to go, but we're playing well. Third place. I think we're 15 games over 500 after winning. We were 1 game over 500. Now we're 15 games over 500 after winning 14-0. So I'm happy about that. It was great to turn on the Diamondbacks game on the radio Friday and hear this voice.
There's a fly ball into left. Hit it pretty well to Suarez, and he got it all. It's out of here. A home run. Gino Suarez It's his 6th of the year, and it's 4-1 Diamondbacks.
The governor, Greg Schulte, was back in the booth. He retired, of course, last year after Game 5 of the World Series, in which the Diamondbacks lost to the Texas Rangers. But some illness to Steve Bertoon, the TV voice of the Diamondbacks. And so the youngster, Steven Garagiola, slid over from radio to TV. And Greg Schulte worked the Friday and Saturday games on the radio for the Diamondbacks. Now, an interesting thing happened in the game on Saturday. And we've talked a lot over the course of the last 5 or 6 years about sign stealing and all of that in the game of baseball. And the problem is, look, there's always going to be sign stealing in baseball. The question is how are you doing it? Are you doing it electronically? It's one thing if I'm doing it with my own eyes, because that's baseball.
From the dugout.
That's baseball. If I'm watching the coach and I can pick up what his indicator is and figure out what the signs are, that's the game. That you can do that. That's not cheating. That's the game. Well, Saturday they ran into a situation where they brought in the Diamondbacks brought in their new pitcher who they picked up on waivers from the White Sox, Thiago Vieira, and he was tipping his pitches. And the White Sox, clearly, who know him, knew he was tipping his pitches because they probably had seen him do it before. So he Torey Lovullo went out to the mound and called for what is known as a forced balk so they could get this catcher who was apparently Kevin Newman had spotted it as well. He had stolen 9 signs in a row. 9 signs in a row he had stolen. So they wanted to get him off of second base, so they intentionally committed a balk to do so.
Something must be wrong. Torey Lovullo's running out to the mound here. Or Torey just wants to have a little heart-to-heart. I guess there's no injury.
Yeah, this is a direct message from the manager. So I don't know if it's something with the balls in the dirt or whatever it is, but yeah, you don't often see the manager come out unless he's making a pitching change.
Torey just kind of sprinted out of the dugout. That's why I thought maybe there was an injury, but Vieira kind of looked up like, whoa, what's going on here? All right. The count is 2-1. Vaughn digs in, right-handed hitter. Vieira's ready at the belt and dropped the baseball, and he's called for a balk. Trying to think in 26 years if I've ever seen a pitcher drop a ball for a balk call. I can't recall one. Well, maybe.
I was just looking at Torey because I wanted to see his reaction, and he did a small couple claps. So I thought maybe that is on purpose, so he just doesn't have to worry about the guy at second
base.
Now, I'm not sure who the analyst was because Tom Caniati had also moved over. Bob Brenly has been missing some games recently, and Tom Caniati had moved over to TV, so I'm not sure if that was Tuffy Golswich, the former catcher who subbed in on some games on the radio side. That may have been him. He was the only one that caught it, who actually picked up that's what that was an intentional balk to get that runner off of second base so he couldn't steal any more signs. Now, what happened on the next pitch was the White Sox got a flaming single to center field to score the runner from third. It was the catcher running, who probably doesn't score if he's still on second base. It ended up being immaterial because they lost the game 9-2 anyway. And if it was a one-run game, maybe that's you look at that. Well, was that a really good idea? But afterward, Torey Lovullo explained what he was doing in that situation.
It was a force balk. I went out there. Maldonado was very crafty, and so I just went out there and said, let's force a balk. And the kid was too good of a hitter that was standing at home plate. He'd be able to check off of something that wasn't going to be the pitch he was looking for. So it just didn't work out. You can see in the glove now, and you pick up grips, and you see the way the ball's spinning in the hand. So nobody does it better than Maldonado. We were aware of that. I asked him, I said, are you comfortable with this? This is what I'd like to do. And he looked me in the eye, and he said, very comfortable. I'm fine with it. So had he said no, I would have said no. All right, let's keep pitching. Just be be aware of what's going on. I couldn't go out there and tell them how to correct it because we didn't have any data. We didn't have any video. The video came in after that half inning, and we were able to tell him what he was doing. We couldn't see what he was doing. We work really hard in this area in spring training, and we continue to monitor it. We just didn't have spring training with him, so he's kind of on his own, and we're still trying to figure him out a little bit. And we zeroed in on it. Once we got him back in the dugout, we figured out what Maldonado was looking at, and we eventually fixed it. But we just didn't have that luxury until we got him back in the dugout.
And so, again, Torey Lovullo wanted to reiterate that they were not accusing Martin Maldonado of anything. It's not cheating, he said. It's part of the game, 100%. Maldonado was doing his job. I want to make sure that I state that loud and clear, said Torey after the ball game. But you got a new pitcher. This is stuff they work on in spring training, but they just hadn't figured it out, and they had to figure out what he was doing first, and they felt the best way to do that was to move that runner off second base. It's something you really don't see a lot in baseball.
It's the most baseball story ever, isn't it? So you've got cheating, which isn't cheating. Right. And in order to stop the cheating, which isn't cheating, the manager decides to force that person into a spot on the field where he can no longer read what's going on behind the plate.
Right.
And that led to a run being scored, because had they not made that decision, that person would have been at second and likely wouldn't have scored on that. That's like the most baseball story ever.
Exactly. You got to love it. The intricacies of the game. All right. Getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather. Here is Christy.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. We're still seeing quite a bit of slowing from an earlier disabled vehicle on eastbound I-10 from Cotero Farms Road to Orange Grove Road. We also still have those speed enforcement zones in the area of Camino Seco and Broadway, 6th Avenue and Alameda, Houghton and Rita, and Cushing and Maine. Please watch your speed in those areas. It is currently 102 outside and hot. Tonight's overnight low, 76. And I'm Christy with Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need at the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they're guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Did you miss the big game? We got you covered.
Got a man wide open to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Arizona. Nobody close to Tetaroa McMillan.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. If you're driving right now, you may not be thinking about your tires, but chances are they've been tested before. Like that time you swerved to avoid the stray shopping cart that rolled into the street from nowhere? Or when you had a green light but did some extreme braking because another driver decided to turn left in front of you? And we've all had to navigate monsoon downpours that turned our streets into Arizona's largest slip and slide. At Jack Furrier's, we've helped Arizona drivers navigate these extreme moments for over 60 years with the right tires, the best deal, and a huge in-stock selection of the brands you trust. And now's the time to save big with the most rebates we've seen all year on the brands you love, like Michelin, Cooper, and Uniroyal tires, with up to $100 back all month long. And Jack Furrier cardholders get back another $30. Check out jackfurriers.com for details on all our sizzling summer savings. So for all those critical moments where your tires make the difference, check out Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care.
Southern Arizona Radiology Associates have been dedicated to providing superior images and quality care for the last 35 years. They're the one you trust when you need an X-ray, CT scan, ultrasound, mammogram, or MRI. They have locations in Tucson, Green Valley, and Sierra Vista. Ask your doctor to refer you to Southern Arizona Radiology Associates today. That's Southern Arizona Radiology Associates. Visit their website at sararadiology.com or call 520-335-6849 for more information.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice, attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice, LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, 29464.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. N76, visit staples.com/print for details.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Listen to the home of the Wildcats wherever you are on your iPhone and iPad by downloading our new app in the App Store so you can tune in wherever you are 24 hours a day. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Okay, so we got only one game in today at the College World Series in Omaha because of the weather. Again, these games are played in the middle of America, and the weather does not always cooperate there, as we saw a few weeks ago with the Women's College World Series softball tournament in Oklahoma City. Rain today in Omaha, so they got the morning game in, or the early afternoon their time, morning our time. And Florida State eliminated North Carolina. North Carolina, of course, came out of the bracket that would have been Arizona. So Florida State advances to the bracket final against Tennessee. They'll need to beat Tennessee twice. Those two teams will play at 11 a.m. tomorrow in the first of what could possibly be two games over there, because the weather is still looking bad tomorrow.
Yeah, heavy rain and thunderstorms predicted for tomorrow, 97% chance.
Yeah, so the game that was canceled was the afternoon game today, and that was Kentucky and Florida. It's been rescheduled at the moment for 11 a.m. tomorrow, but like J-Dub just said, we'll see if we get any baseball games in tomorrow. That is also an elimination game. We were on the air last night. Texas A&M held on to beat Kentucky 5-1. So Kentucky and Florida will now play in that bracket 2 elimination. The winner of that game, Kentucky and Florida, will come back, and they'll need to beat Texas A&M twice. So again, Texas A&M and Tennessee sitting in the driver's seat positions right now with a chance to advance to the College World Series Championship Finals, which would begin Saturday. That would be Game 1 Saturday, Game 2 Sunday, and Game 3 Monday night.
Let's see.
If necessary.
Saturday, breezy in the morning and humid. Sunday, mostly sunny and nice. And Monday, sunshine, breezy, and humid.
There you go.
So, yeah, only today and tomorrow really is the forecast in Omaha. Looks to be heavy rain, especially tomorrow. They're saying it's going to be heavy tomorrow, so we'll see.
All right, Game 5 of the NHL's Stanley Cup Finals is tonight. This game will face off in about a half an hour in South Florida. So the Panthers have a 3 games to 1 series lead. They were in the finals last year. They lost to Adin Hill and the Vegas Golden Knights. They have never won. Never have the Florida Panthers won a championship. So unlike the Boston Celtics last night, this would be a first. This would be a first for this franchise. It's a relatively new franchise. They did not come into being until 1993, so they are only 31 years old, but they are on the onset here, the outset of an opportunity to win their first Stanley Cup championship tonight. And Gustav Forsling, one of their outstanding players on this roster, talked about not wanting to allow the Oilers to continue any of the momentum that they got from an 8-1 win at home on Saturday night.
I want to build off the first 3 games. I feel like we play with a little tighter gap. I think we let them a little bit off the hook in the 4th game. Didn't play as tight as we wanted as a team, and it starts with me and all the defensemen with a tight gap, and I think that's what we want to improve.
You know, it's interesting that both of those game 4s were absolute blowouts for the home team, but obviously putting the team in the power position in a position to potentially clinch the championship at home. If you're a fan, like if you were a Celtics fan, did that worry you? If you're a Florida Panthers fan, does that worry you? I mean, you just want to get these series over with, but at the same time, you know, for a team that's never won a championship, to have a chance to win it on home ice, and for I mean, how many rats are going to be flying tonight if Florida wins it all?
Yeah, and I think, you said it yourself. If you're a fan of the Celtics, you've seen a title in 2008.
Yeah,
with KG and those guys.
Right.
And obviously in the 80s, if you're old enough, you remember 4 titles in the 80s. But it's been a minute, and you also have the luxury of being up 3-0 and going home to clinch it on the storied parquet floor that is Boston Garden. On the other hand of that spectrum, if you're talking about a franchise that's never won a title, DK, I don't think the fans give a damn where those, where they finish it off. They just want to make sure that they get it done.
And interesting, we were talking about off air, J-Dub, the potentials for who might be the MVP of this Stanley Cup Finals, and it could be somebody on the other side potentially.
Yeah, well, we just had the passing of legendary NBA logo Jerry West, and he famously was the only NBA player to ever win the Finals MVP on a losing team. And curious, because you've been hearing all these, stories about Connor McDavid breaking the Great One's assist record, DK. I mean, when you talk about breaking Wayne Gretzky's records, we're talking about 40-year-old records, at least. Records that people thought would never be broken. This is maybe one of those ones that was on the cusp. I looked it up. He has the most assists in a playoff season ever with 32 now, one more than Gretzky did. Right now, McDavid has 38 points in these playoffs. The record is Wayne Gretzky with 47, Lemieux 44, Gretzky 44, Gretzky and 40 as well. I did look it up, DK, and 5 players have won the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is for the MVP of the finals, on the losing team. 4 of those, however, were goalies, and only one skater in the history of the NHL has ever won the MVP on a losing team, Reggie Leach in 1976. And the Flyers were back-to-back champions. They had won the previous 2 Stanley Cups, did not win, obviously, that year, but Reggie Leach was given the Conn Smythe Trophy. So we'll see. We'll see if Connor McDavid has enough to get that MVP on the losing team.
There are some interesting connections for the Florida Panthers as it relates to Arizona. Matthew Tkachuk, of course, the son of Keith Tkachuk. He played for the Coyotes back in the day. Matthew was born here in Arizona while his dad was a Yote. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, a longtime Coyotes. Many people believe he's one of the all-time great Coyotes, former captain, during that time after Shane Doan left, played 11 seasons here for the Arizona Coyotes. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is on that team. Nick Cousins spent 2 seasons with Arizona during his career. So there's quite a few connections to ex-Coyotes who have a chance to win a Stanley Cup title and raise the cup tonight with the Florida Marlins. Paul Maurice is the head coach, and he talked about getting to this point and teams learning how to finish out a title.
I think there's a lot of standard lines that come out with the volume of interviews that we do that make sense. I don't know that we're specific about our words, I think we needed to go through that experience. I mean, we would have traded the learning experience for a win, to be honest, but then you have to kind of embrace that learning. And this is true of sports. There are things you learn, but you don't get to necessarily keep them, right? They have to be constantly tested, constantly relearned, or the extreme idea is one team would win the Super Bowl and they learned how. Nobody else gets to win a Super Bowl then forever. It's the same team for the next 25 years, right? So you got to constantly relearn.
Constantly relearn. Indeed. Face-off is coming up here in about 28 minutes or so for game number 5 of the NHL's Stanley Cup Finals between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton trying to stay in this, get back to Canada, and potentially push this thing to a Game 7. And who knows if miracles can happen. It has happened, I think, more recently in the NHL than it has in the NBA, a team coming back from 3-0 down to win a series, but still a pretty impossible thing to do. And especially when you talk about the fact that Canada hasn't had a Stanley Cup champion in so long, since we've discussed throughout the last few weeks. But we'll see what happens tonight and if there is a Game 6 coming up.
Apparently, it's 4 times it's happened.
Yeah.
In the NHL.
Yeah.
Most recently was the 2014 Kings.
Yep.
Down 0-3, and the Flyers in 2010.
Those LA Kings. That was a great run by that team, man. I remember LA was on fire. Not literally, although LA's
been on fire a few times in my lifetime already.
It may have been on fire after they won that. So I saw them trying to turn over some cars in Boston last night, but
I saw a guy
really anything crazy
break.
Happening.
Did you see the video of the guy break the crosswalk? So he pulls the crosswalk button off of the pole.
Uh-huh.
And instantly is engulfed by one police officer in a vest and pulled over this railing to another group that was waiting. So, they were just waiting for this guy to do something illegal, which he did in full view of a camera, videotaping his actions, and then, instantly into police custody.
All right, I want to tell you about a sweet deal I've got for you. Got another sweet deal for you. Jeremiah's Italian Ice. It's at Oracle and Ina. I've got a $50 gift certificate for just $25. This sweet deal goes on sale. WildcatsRadio1290.com at 8:30 Friday morning. 8:30 Friday morning. Jeremiah's Italian Ice. Stop by. It's at Oracle on Ina for a tasty frozen treat. Try their smooth and creamy Italian ice. Rich and delicious soft ice cream or gelati. The perfect layer of Italian ice and ice cream. With over 40 flavors of Italian ice made fresh daily, the choices are endless, and so are the samples. Come try them all. Find your favorite combination. Again, it's a sweet deal. Jeremiah's Italian Ice. I want to hear, like I mentioned yesterday, I didn't grow up. Spent summers growing up in Philadelphia. Would go there pretty much went there every summer from the time I was 6 years old all the way through my senior year in high school. And so I grew up every summer on Italian ice. What's your favorite flavor? If you grew up in the Northeast, Philadelphia, New York, Long Island, Jersey Shore, I want to hear from you what your favorite flavor Italian ice was growing up. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. You can call us. You can text us. I always loved lemon. Lemon Italian ice was always my favorite growing up. But what was your favorite Italian ice if you grew up in that zone of the country where Italian ice was very popular? We went and so we got our Philly on a couple of Saturdays ago. I mentioned we went and
get your Philly on.
We cleaned out our we purged out of our storage unit, did some purging.
Right.
And then we went over and got a steak sandwich at Frankie's, the Frankie's North Side, because they closed the one over by campus. But they still have Frankie's, and of course Frankie passed away, rest his soul, a few years back. But they still have Frankie's over on Thornydale there. So we went over there and got our steak sandwich on. We're going to Philadelphia in July to see Pops and the family. So looking forward to that trip for sure. And I may just get an Italian ice and a lemon Italian ice when I go back to Philly in July. It's DK on the Sports Tip. Christy's getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. We have a report of a hit and run on Sandario Road, just south of Twin Peaks Road. The Silverbelt Road Bridge will be closed at Blanco Wash through January of 2025 for bridge improvements. It is currently 102 outside, overnight low 76, tomorrow hot and 103. And I'm Christy with Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50 on your print purchase. Offer ends 7/6. Visit staples.com/print for details. Boost your business with Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. If you're driving right now, you may not be thinking about your tires, but chances are they've been tested before. Like that time you swerved to avoid the stray shopping cart that rolled into the street from nowhere? Or when you had a green light but did some extreme braking because another driver decided to turn left in front of you. And we've all had to navigate monsoon downpours that turned our streets into Arizona's largest slip and slide. At Jack Furrier's, we've helped Arizona drivers navigate these extreme moments for over 60 years with the right tires, the best steel, and a huge in-stock selection of the brands you trust. And now's the time to save big with the most rebates we've seen all year on the brands you love, like Michelin, Cooper, and Uniroyal tires, with up to $100 back all month long. And Jack Furrier cardholders get back another $30. Check out jackfurriers.com for details on all our sizzling summer savings. So for all those critical moments where your tires make the difference, check out Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Cricket, did you know that you had a World Cup?
Straight! We're going to have a super over!
Is that like soccer?
I don't understand any of it. I don't understand the terminology. I don't understand. Left-armed seamer, can you believe it or not? He caught a slip.
You don't want to catch a slip.
I don't know what any of those
That's
things.
not good at all.
But congrats to the USA for defeating Pakistan.
Yeah, I like the left-hand seamer, though. That sounds like a good thing.
Wildcats Radio 1290.
Yeah, Goodfellas AC.
Hi, can I get a second opinion from you guys on something?
Of course. It's what we're here for.
So, my wife's brother claimed he'd done some AC repair before.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and now there's kind of a rope and pulley situation that opens the freezer door and a fan inside turns on to cool off the house.
Huh, very creative.
Really?
No, not at all. Next time, call us first, yeah?
Yeah.
Call Goodfellas AC for free estimates and second opinions. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. GoodfellasAC.com.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
On a mission to protect free speech, Rumble is one of the only video sharing platforms where you can watch genuine content for free. Rumble is available on desktop, mobile, and connected TV, featuring bold, influential voices. Rumble gives you the freedom to be entertained with exclusive creators, action-packed sports, lively debates, and more. And now you can cut cable. Download the Rumble TV apps and watch independent media on the big screen. Creators such as Steven Crowder at 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday. Kimberly Guilfoyle at 4 p.m. Eastern Mondays and Thursdays. Glenn Greenwald at 7 p.m. Eastern Monday through Friday. And Don Jr. at 6 p.m. Eastern Mondays and Thursdays. Rumble is the place to find authentic expression from creators. A place where we do not censor, but rather believe that everyone should benefit from access to a network full of more ideas, diverse opinions, and dialogue. Join Rumble, where people are given the freedom to be entertained by exclusive content from creators who are empowered to express themselves freely. Visit rumble.com or download the app and watch for free.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. And we were talking a little bit earlier with Robert Portnoy from the New Mexico Lobos. And he was telling us about Issei Matautia. Issei Matautia. He's the offensive line transfer who came from New Mexico, but first he went to Arizona State. And what you may not know about Shanko is he played at Servite with Noah Fafita, Tetro McMillan, Jacob Manu, and that whole gang. So add one more Servite guy to the roster for the University of Arizona. The question is like, when he was thinking about transferring from New Mexico, how did those guys let him go to Arizona State? Why didn't he just come straight here? But he eventually got here. So looking forward to seeing Issei out on the field this summer when training camp begins, and it will begin on July the 30th. So we'll be right out of vacation and right into football at the end of July. Looking forward to that as well. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Want to send a shout out. We've been telling you about some of the Olympic things that have been happening involving Southern Arizona. Today, USA Cycling announced their Olympic team, and we want to send a shout out to Delaney Vaughn from Tucson, who trains over on the north side. Delaney Vaughn has made the team and is headed to France. So congratulations to Delaney Vaughn. She is 23 years old. This will be her first Olympic Games. She won the elite women's national title representing the Stars and Stripes sleeve for the year. And she has really continued to prove herself as one of the fastest BMX racers in America. So that is really cool. Delaney Vaughn is headed to her first Olympic Games BMX. Did you ever race bikes when you were growing up?
So when I was like 8, a movie called Rad came out.
Rad, I don't remember.
And it was the first BMX, first and to my knowledge, only BMX feature-length movie. But every kid my age wanted to get a mongoose and go out there and flip backwards over dirt hills. So, I mean, I definitely dabbled, right up until the point where I probably came home with too many bloody elbows, one too many times type of thing. I don't think I really ever found a group here in town. DK, I think was the thing back then. But yeah, I think everybody my age during that stretch of the 80s, this was before skateboarding really became a thing because they didn't have tails yet. So you couldn't really do tricks on skateboard. So BMX bike riding was it for kids. Yeah, for sure.
I remember I had, you're not this old. I had, my first skateboard had those hard wheels.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't even really do, I mean, it was
well,
just
that was
like,
the big... my cousin is he's like semi-pro and knows all those guys. So I've been around it my whole life, and that change from those old school hard wheels into the ones that were rubberized.
Kind of rubberized.
That was the big change in skateboard for sure.
I was like, people always talk about skateboards, and I was like, I remember when the wheels were
and there was no
hard
grip on those wheels either because they were basically like clay.
Exactly.
So it was like Imagine two pieces of clay rubbing against each other. There's not a lot of friction there.
You weren't going very fast.
Yeah, no. I remember those as well. Late 70s.
Oh, my
like
gosh.
Those see-through plastic flat boards with the terrible wheels.
It wasn't even. I think I had I think my board was hard. I don't think I couldn't even see through it. It was. I had hard wheels and a hard board. It was like a piece of wood.
There's a classic
wheels.
style. I think they're called like banana boards or something like that. And there's this classic style of semi-opaque like color boards with those terrible wheels. Yeah.
But what's even cool about the fact that Delaney Vaughn has made the Olympic team is that she's now in a line. We've had Olympic Tucson Tucson make the BMX Olympic team now in multiple Olympics because Corbin Chirac had made the team. I believe the last two. He'd gone to the last two Olympic Games. He attempted to qualify this year, did not qualify. So now you've got Delaney Vaughn. So Tucson has been represented on the USA Cycling BMX squad for a number of years now in a number of different Olympics. That's pretty cool when you really sit down and think about it. Delaney was quoted in this release that was sent out earlier today by USA Cycling. Being selected to the Olympic Games is an unexplainable feeling. It's something I've wanted since I was a kid, and the 2024 Games was always the goal. The day I made the team will be a feeling I will never forget and something I will cherish forever. The preparation for this started so long ago, and it feels so good for the hard work to pay off. It's always an honor to represent the U.S. and not something I take lightly. I'm excited to represent them on the world's biggest stage for sport, and that is the Olympic Games in Paris coming up in late July. So congratulations to Delaney Vaughn. We've reached out to USA Cycling, and we hope to have a chance to chat with that young lady here in the coming weeks or so. Again, no show tomorrow because it is Juneteenth, so we will be off tomorrow, but we will be back with you on Thursday for our anniversary show. So come hang out with us. Well, not actually hang out here in studio, but come hang out with us here.
They can come hang out with us
on
in studio.
1290, and we can reminisce on this past year of shows, and as we turn the clock to year number 2 of DK.
It's been a
Sports
pretty
Desk.
eventful year in the world of sports.
It has. It really has. Is there one event that stands out for you?
Yeah, it was the Pac-12 dissolving.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we knew USC and UCLA were gone.
I was
but,
really feeling good until you said that. You really had to bring me down, J-Dub.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the year in review, and to me, the biggest sports story of this year is that Stanford, Oregon State, and USC are no longer rivals of the Arizona Wildcats. It's hard to pick a bigger story.
It is. It's again, we're going to a new place with the. In fact, we have some final business from the Pac-12. It's there's still. I think this might be the last piece of Pac-12 business. We still have officially 11 days left, or actually 12 days, 30 days. It's September, April, June, 12 days left of this month. But the final official Pac-12 business came out yesterday when they announced the winners of the Tom Hansen medals. Now, the Tom Hansen Medal is a conference honor awarded annually to each member institution's outstanding senior male and senior female student athlete based on the exhibition of the greatest combination of performance, achievement in scholarship, athletics, and leadership. So congratulations to the 2 winners from the University of Arizona. So again, each school has 1 male, 1 female, each of the 12 schools. Arizona's female Tom Hansen Award winner was Allie Skaggs from Arizona softball. Closed out her career with Arizona softball as an All-American. She won a Gold Glove. She completed her degree in journalism with a 3.833 GPA. She was named Pac-12 Scholar Athlete of the Year this past year for softball, a 2-time SC Academic All-District honoree, the 11th softball student athlete to win this award at the Arizona, and the first since Alicia Hollowell in 2006. She was also the Ruby Award winner at the Catsies this year, and that's the athletic department's top female senior student athlete that's given out by the athletic department. So she won Allie Skaggs on the women's side. On the men's side, it was Gustav Strom from Arizona Men's Tennis. So congratulations to him. He was part of the rise of the program, the turnaround of the Arizona Men's Tennis program. 3 consecutive regular season championships, Pac-12 tournament champions this past year, went to the Sweet 16 this past season as well. Gustav is from Stockholm, Sweden, native. He was named the 2024 Pac-12 Men's Tennis Scholar Athlete of the Year, also a 2-time SCS Academic All-American, All-District All-American. As a freshman, he was the Pac-12 Rookie of the Year on the court. So congratulations to Allie Skaggs and to Gustav Strom. The last bit of Pac-12 business, they are your Tom Hansen Medal Award winners for 2024, the final Pac-12 Tom Hansen Medal Award winners at the University of Arizona. 520-848-1290, again, is the number to get in on the program. If you had a chance to see either one of those two fine athletes play, I mean, watching Allie, I mean, not a better defender. I don't know if you're going to find a better defender than Allie Skaggs and what she was able to do the last 2 years playing second base after she took over for Reina Caranco. Reina was really good as well. Allie took that to the next level with her defensive skills. And then Gustav Strom, when you talk about the guys that laid the groundwork for what Clancy Shields wanted to build with this tennis program, I've constantly said they are by far probably the hottest program right now at the University of Arizona in terms of the most recent and consecutive success that they've been able to have with three straight conference titles, 2 shared and 1 outright. And Gustav Strom was right in the middle of that rebuild and that resurgence. And so, again, when we look back and, if this continues to be a great thing for Arizona men's tennis, so you're going to point to him as being one of those guys that helped make that happen here at the University of Arizona. So congratulations to those two athletes. All right, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, we will dive into more of what is happening in the world of sports. Could the Arizona Cardinals be getting one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League? We'll dive into that and a whole lot more. It's DK on the Sports Tip. J-Dub is here. Christy is here. My name is David Kelly, and you're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. 6th Street between Stone Avenue and Church Avenue is closed to all travel until October 2024. Westbound 6th Street will be directed northbound at the Stone Avenue and 6th Street intersection. Eastbound 6th Street can use Granada Avenue or Church Avenue to move around this closure. It is currently sunny and 102 at the studio. Tonight's overnight low 76. And I'm Christy with Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance. And even cover your furry friends with pet health insurance. Visit Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. Game 5 of the NBA Finals, every bit as bad as I predicted, and maybe even worse. But right now, I'm here to give Boston credit. Congratulations. The Celtics finally break through, and they go by the Lakers for their 18th World Championship. Jason Tatum, beast. Jaylen Brown, Finals MVP. Al Horford, all class, and finally getting a championship. Drew Holiday makes every room better just by walking into it. Do not forget Derek White. absolute baller, and Brad Stevens assembled a great roster and withstood a ton of pressure when everybody was leaning on him. And credit to 35-year-old head coach Joe Mazzulla, who was so maligned at this time last year. I can make an argument that they don't win it this year without that guy. He's a Celtics fan. You're not one of the greatest teams ever, as you want us to believe, but you got a ring, and nobody can take that from you.
Need parts fast? O'Reilly Auto Parts has fast. Need them now? We've got now. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. We're O'Reilly Fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool's been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice, attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice, LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, 29464.
We get you so close to McHale, it sounds like the Arizona Pep Band is riding in your back seat.
What the hell is going on?
This is the home of Arizona men's basketball. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
2 years ago, you elected Juan Ciscomani to hold the line against Biden's spending and woke destructive open borders policies. But Ciscomani failed and betrayed us, repeatedly voting with Democrats Ruben Gallego, Greg Stanton, and Raul Grijalva for Biden's spending, Biden's agenda, Biden's spying, Biden's debt, and endless billions for Ukraine.
I'm Kathleen Wynne. I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary against Juan Ciscomani so Arizona Republicans can unite to elect President Trump, win the Senate, hold the House, and take our country back. I'm Kathleen Wynne. I approve this ad because it's time for the strong conservative leadership in Congress Juan Ciscomani promised but never delivered.
Kathleen Wynne is a smart, successful businesswoman, radio talk show host, and mother of 7 who worked with the Arizona Attorney General fighting against child sex trafficking and senior abuse. Kathleen Wynne. Kathleen Wynne for Congress. Bold, strong, unafraid. Kathleen Wynne. Standing for what's right. Standing for what we believe. Paid for by Wynn for Arizona.
Attention Tucson. Remember, if it's game day and the Wildcats are taking the floor, you can count on 1290 to bring you all the play-by-play action, the biggest pre- and post-game show in the Pac-12. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Out number 3 in the program, JW, one day we're going to get this holiday thing right. And we're going to get out of here at like 1 o'clock like everybody else does.
I think anybody's been here all day. I think the building's been empty except for us.
Well, actually, I did see the boss man here a little bit earlier today. So he was here. I did see Mark was here, and Jose was here, and Max was here. So yeah, at least some
their
of the
bodies were here, but were they really here?
I mean, technically, if the company is going to close down the office at 1 o'clock, then that encompasses our show, right? We should actually have 2 days off, I would think, is how that's supposed to work. If that's what's going to happen on these national holidays.
How about one of us takes the rest of the afternoon off? Rochambeau for it.
Rochambeau. There you go. Something like that. A Juneteenth holiday tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of you will have the day off. Some of you will not. It is a national holiday. Has been now going on. I believe this is the third year that it has been a national holiday. I just remember last year I told everybody I was doing my first show on Monday, June 19th.
Right.
Then I was told, no, you can't do your show on June 19th because that's a national holiday and nobody's going to be working that day. And I'm like, okay. So I had to tell everybody that this first show would be on June the 20th. And again, great holiday that we celebrate. The fact that, again, it was when the slaves in Texas were let know that they were free in 1865. But I'll be honest with you, and I always tell you I'm going to bring things from the perspective of how I was raised. And this holiday was not celebrated everywhere I lived when I was growing up. Okay? I grew up a lot in the Midwest, and I've spoken before of what I call regional holidays. Regional, and I hate to use the word holiday. It's probably just regional. It's probably better to say regional days of honor or something of that nature.
Well, like Philadelphia has to have an Italian Ice Day,
right?
Right.
Exactly. I mean, South Philly would just blow up if there wasn't an Italian Ice Day. I am mostly from the North. I was born in Ohio. Most of my people migrated from South Carolina, Tennessee, in that area to the north. And I lived a lot of my life in Los Angeles. The only place that I've ever lived growing up or lived in any time in my existence before recently where Juneteenth was celebrated was when I lived in Denver. So I spent a lot of summers in Denver growing up. My mother's sister lived there. We did celebrate. If I was there during the summer in mid-June, we did celebrate Juneteenth. And one of the reasons is because obviously it is a Texas-based holiday. It was Texas Black Americans in the late 1800s who were informed that they were no longer slaves. Many of the other Black Americans in the other part of the country knew they were free before that, long before that. And so you have a lot of blacks that are from Texas who migrated north to Colorado, a bordering state, who migrated here to Arizona, a bordering state, or close to being a bordering state. And that's why it has always been celebrated in places like here.
New Mexico doesn't count.
No, you just
Texas and Arizona, they're border.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, don't
so
say
disrespectful.
that
You just had Portnoy on.
Exactly.
New Mexico doesn't count as a state. No.
Rob Portnoy on, and you just said that New
joke.
Mexico doesn't count. But yeah, so it is definitely and always has been celebrated in places like Arizona, in places like, again, like I said, Denver. But I don't, when I was in college and growing up in Los Angeles, we never celebrated it then in those places. We never celebrated it in Cleveland. None of my Cleveland relatives ever celebrated it. Like I mentioned before, I celebrated a lot of my summers in Philadelphia. It was not anything that we celebrated there during the summers that I was there. Not to say that it shouldn't be celebrated. I'm just giving you my experience with it. My experience with Juneteenth. I think it's a great holiday. I'm happy that it is a national holiday and that folks are beginning to realize, the things that Black Americans went through in this country in the 1800s. But again, it was not a holiday that was celebrated in all sectors of the Black community. It really, a lot of times, depended on where you lived in this country. So that's my experience with it. What's your experience with it growing up? 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Again, and yeah, like I said, I can remember my aunt when I would spend summers in Denver. She would take us to Juneteenth celebrations all the time. I think I probably spent 4 summers there in the course of my life, but every one of those summers involved a Juneteenth celebration.
It makes total sense the way you laid it out. I mean, being such a because it had been how many years? Like 3 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So the rest of America, for 3 years was living that way. Texas announces this in 1865, and those people who migrated from Texas to those border states, as you said, brought that celebration with them,
Exactly.
Whereas Philadelphia, wasn't a thing.
It's like
sense.
in Cleveland. In Cleveland, we have we have this holiday. Have you ever heard of Sweetest Day?
Swedish Day, no.
Sweetest. Like sweetest. That's SWEETEST.
Clearly, I have not.
You've not heard of Sweetest Day is a day of celebration that I've never heard of anywhere outside of Northeast Ohio. It's an October version of Valentine's Day.
Right.
October the 14th. And you want to talk about, like, I got to Cleveland, and I'm like, as an adult, and all of a sudden,
got 2 days a year I got to worry about?
Yeah, exactly. It's like my dates are like, are you going to get me? Are we going out on Sweetest Day?
Right.
I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about? I've never even heard of Sweetest Day. Well, we have to go out. You have to buy me flowers on Sweetest Day. October 14th.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Cleveland's second Valentine's Day.
You're talking to the wrong guy because I spent a good 15 or 20 years in the advertising art industry.
Yeah.
And that whole Hallmark holiday thing of, I love the 365, bring home flowers or bring flowers to somebody you love 365 days a year. Those days that are earmarked for you to either bring or be shunned if you don't. Yeah. I have a bit of an issue with that. I mean, it is what it is. I'm sure there's a very good reason for the origin of that outside of just somebody who owned a store thinking, I got to drum up more business, so let's make a Valentine's Day in October now.
Yeah. I mean, and that's probably the reason, because I think Hallmark has a I don't even know if Hallmark might be based in Northeast Ohio.
I think that sounds about right.
But yeah, if you live where the card company and the candy company is based, then you might have more holidays than you think up there, or days of observations, however you want to.
Kansas City, Missouri,
those.
apparently.
Kansas City, Missouri. All right. So yeah, if you've ever heard if you're not from Northeast Ohio and you've heard of Sweetest Day, I want to hear from you. 520-848-1290. If you come from some part of the country that has a special day of observation that no one else has ever heard of.
Right.
I want to hear from you.
That's the conversation we should be having is what other weird regional holidays are there that we don't know about?
Regional days of observation are out there that we might not know about.
And we're not talking about like, May 11th being Waffle Day, Federal Waffle Day. We're not talking about that. We're talking about regional holidays that have always been, a part of that region that we might not know about.
Right. 520-848-1290. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. We'd love to hear from you about all of that. What I do have to now give to you, though, is I already gave you my sweet deal for today, but I've also now got to tell you about a giveaway that Chris Jansen, the famed country singer, has partnered with Cumulus Media and Wildcats Radio 1290. You might have heard his song, What You See Is What You Get. Chris Jansen talks about Bass Pro being his second home, and now we want to make it your second home. Again, we're partnering with Chris Jansen to hook up one winner with a $10,000 Bass Pro Shops shopping spree. You get to raid the store, pick out all of your favorite Bass Pro Shops and Cabela branded gear. All of that. In fact, I keep saying I'm going to look up Cabela because I want to see what I can get, what kind of gear I can get from Cabela. Let's see what the first thing that pops up in the images here when I type in Cabela on my computer, because I want to see what I don't have any Cabela brand. Of course, give me something other than boots. There you go. Hiking, wading boots.
Like I said, the only father-son trip I ever took with my dad to Alaska, we had Cabela's waders. Yeah.
You got to have wading boots to go out into that water when you're fishing, right? Because fishing from the shore is probably kind of boring, right?
If you're a fly fisherman, you got to have waders. Put it that way.
All right. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to give you the short code. It's 95819, 95819. I said just put that number in your phone, and you can mark it whatever you want. K-Cub, short code, Wildcats Radio 1290, short code, Wildcats 1290. I can win a trip, short code, whatever you want to call it. 95819, because chances are when I'm giving something away, that's going to be the short code to text the keyword to. So just put it in your phone and leave it there so you always have it and you're always ready to go. Because I'm going to give you the keyword now. You're going to text that keyword to enter a chance to win this $10,000 Bass Pro shopping spree, courtesy of Chris Jansen, Wildcats Radio 1290, and Cumulus Media. So that keyword right now is shop. Shop. Because this is a shopping spree. Shop. $10,000. Text the national keyword right now, shop, to 95819 for your chance to win a $10,000 Bass Pro Shops shopping spree. Buy all the Bass Pro Shops and Cabela branded gear you want. Get the cool hat. Get more than the cool hat. Get 10 cool hats. Get cool hats for the entire bridal party. If you're a guy and you're getting married this summer and you want all the guys to take a picture with the Bass Pro Shops hat on, this is your opportunity to get all those hats paid for. I think you'll probably have plenty of money left over after you get those 6 or 7 hats for your bridal party to buy a whole lot of other stuff. Maybe even a boat. Okay? So 4 keywords a day. One we give out from 6 to 9. The other we give out from 9 to 12. The other we give out from 12 to 3. This one is from 3 to 7. Listen for the commercials throughout the day. Your chance to win right now. Text the keyword shop to 95819. Bass Pro, $10,000, courtesy of Chris Jansen, Wildcats Radio 1290, and Cumulus Media.
You could get like a really cool trail cam and set it up outside your place and see what kind of wildlife you got roaming around out there. That's a thing people do.
Oh, a trail cam.
Yeah. Like motion activated camera, basically.
There you go. That would be, I could see that. That's what. So those are the things where we see on TV where we see the picture, the camera shot of Bobcat climbing over somebody's wall.
Yes.
Here in Tucson.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what that's all about. There you go. I don't know that I'm trying to think if I've ever bought anything from like a outdoor store. I don't know that I've ever, because I'm a city mouse, so I don't think I've ever bought anything from an outdoor store.
I have bought a lot of stuff from outdoors, mostly when I was younger, but I used to have I think they're called igloo sleeping bags. There's like a negative 20 degrees below zero grade for it. So basically, I remember a couple mornings waking up and having some of my friends have frost on top of them, but everybody was snug. So, yeah, that was a good purchase. Good pair of boots, DK. Like, if you spend any time, jump around on rocks up in the mountains anytime, a really good pair of boots, it's worth the extra money for the long term because those things last forever. You just got to get them resold.
All right. We want to hear from, when we come back, we're going to hear from Josh Green, who played for the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals. But did you know, I did not know this until a few weeks ago, did you know that he's not the only Arizona Wildcat player on that roster? There was another one. See, and we'll dive into this whole short-term Wildcat. See, I didn't even I remember this particular player, but, he wasn't here long enough for me to have a lasting, maybe, memory of him. And we'll get into that whole aspect of legacy of players as we continue.
What does it mean to be a Wildcat?
What does it mean to be a Wildcat?
Okay.
Exactly. We'll continue that conversation with this latest Wildcat, who I completely forgot was on the Dallas Mavericks roster. DK on the Sports Tip. Christy gets you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Southbound Country Club traffic approaching and passing Glen Street is down to 1 lane. No left turns permitted from Country Club onto Glen. This work should be complete in late July. It is currently sunny and 101 outside. Tonight's overnight low 76. And I'm Christy with Wildcats Radio. 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the ultimate playground for online social casino enthusiasts. Get ready to live the Chumba life and play over 100 online casino-style games for free at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
What makes 1290 different than any other radio station in Tucson? 1290 is the home of the Arizona Wildcats, the NFL, and the Super Bowl. Winner. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
At Nova Home Loans, we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to enjoy the independence that comes with home ownership. Whether you're a first-time home buyer who needs down payment assistance, have less than perfect credit, or looking to refinance, Nova has a variety of home loan programs for your unique situation. Visit NovaHomeLoans.com or call 800-955-9125 to learn more. Not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Rates and available loan programs are subject to change without notice. NMLS 3087, BK 0902429, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Okay, kids, we're home. Everybody out.
Ew, my feet are stuck.
In what, honey?
On the floor.
Ew, take off your shoes. Tommy, come carry your sister into the house.
What do you do when the car you use the most has the least amount of time to get clean? Let Recon Auto Detailing, Arizona's premier auto detailing company, come to you and turn your busiest car back into your best. From basic cleaning to a full detail, Recon Auto Detailing. Online at recondetail.com.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy? Totalmente. Now you can get 50% off any unlimited data phone plan. That's one line for only $25 a month, and you keep the phone you love. Hurry, this is a limited time offer. So find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Offer ends July 31st, 2024. Promo subject to cancellation after 12 months. Available exclusively online and in Total by Verizon stores. Requires a compatible unlocked device and SIM. See totalbyverizon.com for device compatibility and additional details. Taxes and fees may apply.
Time for the hot weather polar bear promise. Alaskan AC arrives in 1 day or your repair is free.
Wait, say that again?
We arrive in 1 day or your repair is free?
Again, but longer on the A.
We arrive in 1 day
or your repair is free. Hear it? No.
Alaskan AC, service guarantee, we arrive in 1 day.
Or your repair is free. By George, he's got it. With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free. Are we really doing this?
That's awesome, Gary. With Alaskan AC service guarantee,
we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free. We should probably sing with us, William. I would really rather.
Come on.
I don't want to. Chicken bok bok. Guys, no.
It's catchy.
Do it.
Sing out, Louise.
Fine.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Whoa.
Whoa is right. Can we get back to work now? Schedule anytime at AlaskanAC.com.
Incredible.
The feeling you get when gas prices go up again. Now you can lose that feeling forever because O'Reilly Chevrolet lets you say goodbye to gas stations and hello to savings with their state-of-the-art Blazer EVs. If you're looking for a vehicle with zero emissions and a dealership with zero hassle, look no further than O'Reilly.com. Call 747-8000 or test drive one today on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Charge into the future at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Android users, you can tune in to the home of the Wildcats by downloading our new app at the Google Play Store so you can tune in wherever you are 24 hours a day. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Westwood One presents Today in Women's Sports, sponsored by T-Mobile. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are starting to turn their season around. With the victory Sunday over Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky, the Fever have won back-to-back games for the first time this season. Clark had her best performance as a pro in the win, finishing with 23 points and 9 assists. Her teammate and last season's Rookie of the Year, Aaliyah Boston, scored 19 points and grabbed 14 rebounds. Caitlin Clark's squad is 5-10 on the season, but clearly there's progress being made.
Still more than half a season left, and I already feel like we've grown, so much. So I think that's just like a positive for all of us to take away and continue to string some wins along. And, Coach has been saying, we just need to continue to take a step forward every single day. But, we don't have any time to go backwards. And I think tonight we took a really big step forward. So I'm proud of the group.
The Fever are back in action tomorrow night at home against the Washington Mystics. With Today in Women's Sports, I'm Maggie Gray on Westwood One.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save, because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
At T-Mobile, you can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, switch and keep your phone. We'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Some people just know the more you protect, the more you save with Allstate. Because they know insurance math. Like if you protect your home and auto, Allstate can save you up to 25%. So it's like losing money if you don't bundle. Save more when you protect more. Bundle home and auto with Allstate today.
Bundled savings vary by state and are not available in every state. Saving up to 25% is the countrywide average of the maximum available savings off the home policy. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, North.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Josh Green, we've been talking about, the Arizona Wildcat, member of the Dallas Mavericks, played extensively in the final 3 games of the NBA Finals. But he was not the only Arizona Wildcat on that roster. Do you remember this guy?
Detroit will be in town. They finally picked up a win.
And their reaction. Yeah. And you take for granted. You think automatically, nice drive. Yeah.
Throughout the 44 years that the Mavs have been in the NBA.
And I still believe Benson, if he can get back and play in time, it's going to be huge for this team.
Now,
played with the Mavericks last year, had some good numbers. There are nights where you can...
on Facebook Live, we're on Twitter, we're on Twitch, Twitter at Wildcats Radio 1290. You are watching one Brandon Williams. Now, Brandon played a lot in garbage time. You've never heard his name mentioned in any of those highlights because a lot of times when guys are on the floor late and they're scoring baskets, the announcers are busy talking about other things. But Brandon Williams, remember him? Point guard, circa 2019. He is on this Dallas Mavericks roster. Now, he has not played much, if at all, in the NBA Finals, but he did play in 17 games during the regular season for the Dallas Mavericks this year. And it's interesting because he only played one season. But I mean, he's like Josh Green. He played one season at the University of Arizona, but that one season might be one of the more forgettable seasons that the program has had in the last 30 years, maybe since we can go all the way back to the beginning of the Lute Olson era. And that was 2018, 2019, when the Wildcats finished just 2 games above 500 at 17-15 and did not go to the NCAA tournament. And it was kind of right in the middle of the whole NCAA bribery scandal mayhem. So from that standpoint, Brandon Williams can be easily forgotten as a Wildcat. But he was a pretty impressive player when he was here he also dealt with some injuries, I think, if I remember correctly,
well,
that negated him coming back and playing for that second year. And
what
then
happened was, first and foremost, I love Brandon Williams. I think his style of game was perfect for Arizona. I loved his attitude. Every time he stepped in front of a mic, he had all the right things to say. He had injuries as a freshman, but he was ready to come back and have some big time as a sophomore, and then he had to have surgery right before. So he had, for all intents and purposes, was going to be starter / six-man on that team. And if memory serves, when he first announced he was going to have surgery, a lot of people thought that was it. Because this was not the first injury. This was the second injury, third injury on the same knee, I think it was.
Because he'd been injured in high school.
Exactly. And so it was just a really sad story because he was such a positive young man, had all the right things. He said, loved Arizona, loved playing here, and unfortunately had that surgery, could not play as a sophomore. So to see him go undrafted the next year, and when he was eligible, when he put his name in, to not be drafted, but then find his way to some G League teams and work his way through the roster and find some moments on the NBA court. It's just such a great, heartwarming story for a guy a lot of people thought might be done with basketball.
He actually started 16 games 2 years ago for Portland, did not play in the NBA in 23, and then back this year with the Dallas Mavericks, played about 7 minutes in the 17 games, 17 minutes averaged in about the 17 games that he appeared in, averaging 3 points and 1 assist. So it'll be interesting. Is there a long-term fit for a Brandon Williams with that outfit or somewhere in the NBA? Again, he's still, you talk about, guys being young. He's still just 24 years old, so it's not like he's an old guy, but just has not necessarily had a chance to get quality minutes outside of that 1 year down the stretch that he was playing for.
If memory serves, like Brandon Williams' real strengths were his ability to get by his man off the bounce, and he had a really nice smooth pull-up game. He wasn't necessarily known as a great outside shooter,
right?
But he's only about 6'1", and he had a lot of burst and a lot of quickness and athleticism. So I think the biggest issue there is, DK, if you're not 6'5" or 6'6", in the NBA, you have to be an exceptional athlete in order just to be able to stay in front of your man and get by your man and that whole thing. So clearly, the young man unfortunately had those injuries early. How hard is it to come back and recondition your body after you've had knee surgery type of thing? I'm almost positive it was knee. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think it was.
I'm almost positive. And how to come back from that and to try to play at the professional level of today's NBA athlete, so difficult. So again, he got the 2-way contract this year back with the Mavericks. Clearly, they liked enough of what they saw from him to be able to keep him on the roster. So yeah, I mean, as a young man like that, the issue is, just to be a realist, every year you've got another group of 20 to 30 guards who are all looking to take a spot.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting year, that team in 18-19. They lost 6 of 19 down the stretch. That was a team primarily made up of Brandon Williams. Justin Coleman was on that team. Ira Lee, obviously a big part of that team. Chase Jeter as well. But they just were not able to get into the NCAA tournament down the stretch, losing in the first round of the Pac-12 tournament to USC that year.
The real reason why is because what they lost the year before.
Yeah.
I got a list. You ready? The year before, they had Keanu Pinder as a senior, Dusan Ristic as a senior, Parker Jackson Cartwright as a senior, Raleigh Hawkins as a sophomore, Alonzo Trier as a junior, and DeAndre Ayton was a freshman.
Yeah.
So they lost so much off of that roster. Yeah, it's really tough. And obviously the cloud you mentioned hanging over the program at the time was really hard to get recruits in. You remember they had, was it Quinterly, right, from who ended up going to
Louisville or
Villanova, I think, is where he went after Arizona. But he has signed, and then he opened his recruitment up after all that stuff. But yeah, I'm looking here at the 247 Sports Top 25, and Brandon Williams was the 25th ranked high school recruit that year, coming out of high school.
Yeah,
out of Crespi.
So let's hear from Josh Green after the end of the NBA Finals as he reflected on the series and the season.
I mean, they came out aggressive, man, and
they were good defensively. They're a great defensive team. Respect to them and respect to the coaches for their defensive scheme.
Now that the season is over, what was your take from what you guys were able to accomplish this season?
I mean, it's been, a hell of a year, and I love these guys, man. Like, I mean, we put this team, with trades and everything was, 5 months ago, and to see the growth as a team and, it's different, like, I don't know, there's a lot of international guys and we don't always have family around, and to be able to build a bond like this and to call the team, family, it's awesome. And to be able to do that in such a short amount of time is, it's amazing. So, I mean, obviously we didn't get, what we wanted, but I'm proud and everyone else is very proud of the team.
I know this is a hard question to ask right after disappointment, but is, kind of going off what you just said, is this the most fun season that you've been a part of?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's fun when everything, I mean, it's 1 through 15, man, like, I couldn't, best teammates, man, like, all great guys in all their individual ways. So, I mean, by far, man, it's always makes your job a lot better when you have fun every day, and, to call those guys my teammate, for sure.
You see the Celtics, they've incrementally, I mean, they've grown, been to this step, and they finally got over the hump. You guys have been in the conference finals 2 years ago, now the NBA finals. What do you think your takeaway will be, from this final, having gotten to this higher stage?
I mean, I think, we got here, and I think everyone's hungry now. It's obviously we didn't get where we wanted to, but, it's not the end of the world. We know that we need to regroup and be back here again next year. I mean, it's a goal every single year. And,
When obviously it's expected, the Celtics are going to, chant Kyrie sucks, that kind of thing. When you guys hear that, just kind of what's the message from J. Kidd and Kyrie in the huddle? And how did you feel a need to respond to that on the court?
I mean, Kyrie does a great job, and he's done a great job from the moment he's got here of being a leader and and being someone, for younger guys, but also, for everyone on the team. So, I mean, obviously it is what it is. The crowds can chant, whatever they want to chant. When we're away, they're obviously going to go against us. So, I mean, he does a great job of, not letting it affect him. And I think that goes back to his, leadership on and off the court. So we have nothing but respect for Kyrie, and, we're not expecting the Celtics to be with us, we're opposing them. So whatever they say is whatever they say. But we all got his back for sure.
What's something that, as you look at the series, your team might have been able to do better or more consistently to extend it, maybe even swing it?
Just physicality, coming out a little, stronger, whatnot. But I don't know. I really haven't thought about it too much. I don't know. My head's all over the place right now.
You had your best game of the playoffs tonight. And obviously, it's been an up and down season. But when you look at the development that you've made since the start, just how do you kind of reflect on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to, leave it all on the floor tonight. I try to play every game like it's my loss. But, I mean, it's what, individual, it doesn't really matter at this stage. I mean, I really just want to win. And, I don't know. I just didn't win.
Josh Green, prior to the season, got a contract extension, 3 years, $41 million. But, JW, do you think his future is in Dallas? Or is this a guy that maybe if we see, again, I always ask that question, is if he's going to get an opportunity to play more, is it going to be in Dallas, or do you believe it's going to be somewhere else?
I think he's young enough to add quite a considerable amount to his game. And if he does that, he could play anywhere. But right now, he's not necessarily even quite a good knockdown outside open jump shooter. And that's the biggest key, DK, is a 3-and-D guy can be used on any roster and the most competitive rosters in the league. But to me, if you look at the Mavs and what they're doing, I mean, Luka could spend his next 3 months on a treadmill. And he could come back chiseled, right? And, down to 3%, but he could come back look like the Admiral. And he's still would struggle keeping in front of some of the quicker players in the NBA. And Kyrie is not a young pup anymore. So when you want to round out the Mavs' current roster with perimeter players, you have to have lockdown. You can't get by this guy. He's going to bring it 100% every single possession defensively, and that's Josh Green. And that Josh Green has been that way since he stepped on the court to begin with. So I think what Jason Kidd and Luka and Kyrie and the Mavs want to see from Josh Green is improving his decision-making once Luka and Kyrie are commanding those double teams. Can you drive the closeout? If you get a swing pass, he's so athletic. I think he tried some career-ending dunks just in this NBA Finals alone, DK, and didn't quite land on a couple of them. But that's who Josh Green is if he can get by the first line of defense. So I think he's exactly what the Mavs need for their current roster, especially with all those athletic bigs. They just need a really solid on-ball defender. He just needs to maybe shoot up 500 three-pointers a day for his summer when he's not doing Olympic stuff, if he ever gets any time off. And, yeah, Josh Green's got a bright future for sure.
And it's going to be interesting. We'll dive into potentially what his Olympic prospects could be. And he's not the only former Arizona Wildcat alum that's in the mix for a spot on the Boomers, which is the Australian national team.
Real quick, I do have an answer to the question he couldn't answer, which was, what they could have done a little differently to extend the series. How about make an outside shot? If you watched that game last night, the Mavericks started 1 for 12 or 1 for 14. Luka started 0 for 6 from the three-point line. If any of those shots go down, DK, or any number of those, it's a completely different story. They got so deep in the hole because they quite literally were orchestrating open looks from three and could not knock a single one of those down in the Garden last night. That's why they lost.
All right, final segment of the show coming up. We'll dive into a little bit more about Josh Green and what he could be doing in late July, though. Christy getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together, sponsored by Park Place Management. We have some normal slowing for westbound I-10 as you approach Orange Grove Road, and also some normal slowing for westbound Ajo Way between I-19 and Mission Road. Tomorrow's high is 105. Tonight's overnight low, 76. It is currently 101 outside. And I'm Christy with Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance. And even cover your furry friends with pet health insurance. Visit Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Escape the ordinary and indulge in a world of excitement at Park Place Mall. Discover endless possibilities with over 100 stores, restaurants, and entertainment options. Join them for the monthly Kids Club, Yappy Hour, and seasonal events. From fashion to food, it's all at Park Place Mall, where you belong.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Is Charlie Woods the most anticipated, follow in the footsteps child of an athletic Hall of Famer we've ever had? Bronny James, as good as he may be, still has to compete within the parameters of a team sport. Golf is individual. Dale Earnhardt Jr. came along just at the beginning of the social media era. I don't know that there's anybody else.
Wildcats Radio 1290.
I'm Kathleen Wynne, Republican for Congress. Juan Ciscomani betrayed Arizona by voting with Arizona Democrats Ruben Gallego, Greg Stanton, and Raul Grijalva to support Biden's radical agenda. Ciscomani voted pro-Biden on the government shutdown, raising the debt, FISA spying, aid to Ukraine, and even against censoring Adam Schiff. Ciscomani even supports chain migration and illegal alien birthright citizenship. Juan Ciscomani is a nice guy who's too afraid to defend our values and too weak to fight for us. I'm Kathleen Wynne. In Congress, I'll vote with Republicans, not Democrats like Juan Ciscomani does. Because no matter how much Ciscomani panders, Democrats won't vote for him. I'm Kathleen Wynne. I approve this ad and ask for your vote to unite our party and help President Trump and Republicans win Arizona. Let's take back our Senate seat and keep House control. I'm Kathleen Wynne. Juan Ciscomani has failed, and it's time for a conservative change.
Paid for by Win for Arizona.
Stop by Sherwin-Williams and get 30% off Super Paint products and Super Deck stains from June 14th through the 24th. It's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
What seems to be the problem?
Doctor, thank goodness. My husband found out Cricket Wireless has 5G plans starting at $15 a month, and his jaw just dropped.
Did he hear about Cricket's blazing fast 5G?
Yep.
What about their reliable nationwide coverage?
Yes, that too.
I see. Unfortunately, there's no cure. But you will have really fast 5G.
Get jaw-droppingly fast 5G for $15 a month. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Video may be limited to SD. Fees may apply. Terms and restrictions apply. Subject to change. See store for details.
We're at the start of summer and the heat is here. Unfortunately, as some of you turn on your AC, you'll find nothing happens. It makes weird noises or just blows hot air. We hope it doesn't happen to you, but if it does, don't panic. Call Rightway and we'll get an expert out to your home.
And for a limited time, you can save 15% off any repairs. Call or text 520-385-7173 to book today or visit rightwayac.com. If it's worth doing, do it the right way.
Free is key during Craftsman Days at Lowe's. Right now, get one free Select V20 tool when you buy a Select Battery 2-pack. Plus, get your choice of a V20 drill or impact driver kit for $69. Don't miss your chance to save on the high-quality, high-performance tools you need during Craftsman Days. Because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 6/19 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
The light is fading. Your hands are sore, and the last tool's been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Final segment of the program here on this Tuesday, 520-848-1290. We'd like to hear from you on any of the number of things that we have discussed here today. The Celtics winning the NBA Finals and the Florida Panthers with an opportunity to win their first title tonight. What's your favorite Italian ice, or as we often called them, water ice back in the day?
Right.
Back in the East.
That was the original name, water ice.
Water ice, yeah. Mine is lemon. I always liked my water ice lemon. And we can chat all about that. So
what about regional holidays?
Regional, that's right.
How about
regional days of importance?
How about Pioneer Day? You know that one?
No, I don't know Pioneer Day.
Pioneer Day is celebrated in one city in the West.
Okay.
We just talked about it this week. There's a big Salt Lake outside of the city. Pioneer Day is the day that the Mormons founded Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And the funny thing about that, DK, is that there are not, it's about 50-50 is the way I understand it in Salt Lake City as far as those from the Mormon faith and not. Just so everybody's not left out, they do have Pie and Beer Day on the same day, which is July 24th, for all non-Mormon residents of Salt Lake City, so they can drink a lot of beer and eat a lot of pie.
There you go. There you go. That's I like the beer pie. I'm not so much into the pie, the beer part. I'm not so much into the pie part of that. Not a pie guy.
Italian ice and beer.
I don't think that would work very well. No. Maybe an Italian ice and a what do they call those cracker-like things that I like at Christmas time? Pizzelle. Maybe a water ice and a pizzelle could be that might work.
That sounds very Italian.
That might work. We were talking a bit about Josh Green, who will have no rest for the weary after going all the way to the NBA Finals. He will now fly over to his home country of Australia and join his national team known as the Boomers for the upcoming Olympic tournament.
They got a nickname for all their teams.
They do. He's expected to be one of the stars on this team. He played he didn't really play a lot through, is it 3 years ago we had the last Olympics, 2021. He got into some games, but he wasn't a primary piece for the Boomers, but he's expected to potentially be that this year alongside NBA stars like Patty Mills and Josh Giddey. But the Australian team has a really tough pool. They are in the same pool with Canada, Spain, and Greece. So that's it's not going to be easy to get out of that pool for sure. They finished just 10th at the World Cup last year, but they won the bronze medal 3 years ago. And you remember they had the I believe they had the United States down like 15 points at one point in that game.
You know, Australia has been one of the 4 or 5 most consistent programs in the last 20, 30 years. And if you want to really break the roster down, DK, there might be more NBA players on that roster than any other country other than America. Canada is obviously getting up on that list. There's a whole bunch of very, very young, talented Canadians. But, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the list right now. You talk about Jack Lawndale. You mentioned Giddey. Matthew Dellavedova's on that team. Yeah. Dante Exum. Matisse Thybulle, we all remember from Washington days. There's a lot of really high-quality NBA players from Australia.
And although he's not likely to make the team initially in the mix to potentially be a part of the Boomers Olympic roster, was none other than Keanu Pender, who played at Arizona as well. He was on the initial 22-player squad that was released earlier this year, but he is not. I believe he's already been cut and will not likely be in the. I think there's 17 players remaining now to get down to the final 12, and he is not one of those 17 currently. So we'll see how that plays out as we get set for the Olympic tournament coming up at the end of
It's going to come so hard and fast. I mean, we mentioned the Olympic qualifiers are, 3 weeks from now. The swimming and diving, talking about track and field and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's going to happen real quick.
Real quick, indeed. All right, let's give you your Desert Diamond Casino replay for today.
And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, as we get set for Arizona football season, we're going to start diving into some of the players. A lot of new players have arrived here in Tucson through the transfer portal. We're going to try to set up interviews with some of the people that know these players best, what we're getting here in Tucson with the Arizona Wildcats. And one of those players who has come out of the transfer portal is Jacory Croskey-Merritt. He goes by Bill. And we had a chance to talk to the voice of the New Mexico Lobos, Robert Portnoy, earlier about the player that Arizona is getting in Bill Merritt. Obviously, we don't know who our starting running back is going to be for that game. It could be Jacory Croskey-Merritt, who was phenomenal for you guys last year. Walk me through he obviously came over from Alcorn State, when he kind of began to make that move to potentially being the number one back for you guys a season ago.
Alabama State. Came from Alabama State and was phenomenal, David. A 1,200-yard rusher, just shy of 1,200 yards. He was third in the conference. He averaged over 6 yards a pop, fourth in the league. He was a touchdown maker, second in the league in rushing TDs with 17 and third in the conference in total touchdowns. I mean, and I should say seventh in all-purpose yardage too. He is a total difference maker. Now, I'm going to give you a comp, but you have to remember that it's on a scale, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Because when we got the word, and everybody calls him Bill, by the way, and you will learn that.
Yeah.
His name is Bill. That's his nickname, but it's his name. Everybody calls him Bill. It dates back to a TV show, a kid show back in the day called Little Bill. And when he was young and he didn't have any hair, all his friends thought he looked just like Little Bill, and everybody thought he looked like Little Bill, and that has stuck since he was a kid. So Bill, Jacory Croskey-Merritt, 5'10", 5'11", right? And you see on the sheet, you see the number says 204, and you're like, yeah, come on, right? This is going to be another small school scat back. that can make people miss in space, and he'll probably be a great back, and he'll help us. But really, and then you see him, and I'm telling you, he is a scaled down version of Eddie George. He looks exactly like Eddie George, just in a little bit smaller package. He's not 6'3", 6'4", but at 5'11" and 205, he absolutely has people bounce off of him like he is stone. His legs are bricks. His upper body is yoked, and he can still make you miss in space and run away from you in the open field. He is a complete back, and the best back in Albuquerque since Casey Carrier set all the records here in the Duke City back in the early 2010s.
Wow. That is a statement right there from Robert Portnoy, the voice of the New Mexico Lobos.
That was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
So apparently Little Bill was an animated educational television series created by Bill Cosby that ran on television during the years of 1999 to 2004. There were 52 episodes of Little Bill, William Glover Jr., also known as Little Bill. And so I guess that's who, I don't remember this television show, to be quite honest with you. But that's who apparently Jacory Croskey-Merritt, when he was growing up, the kids thought that he looked like this character, Little Bill.
We are on the outside, DK, because we don't have children. And so, like, once you get past the age of 25, 30, you're not supposed to know the names of all the children's television shows unless you're a parent, and then you know all of the names of all the children's television shows.
Yeah, it was on Nickelodeon, see? So if I had been married back then...
If they had Friends on late night
Friends
back
would have
then,
been on,
you
I'd have woke
know
up
all
to
about
Little Bill, and I would know absolutely all about it. So... Interesting. Jacory Croskey-Merritt, also known as Bill. It's going to be interesting getting to know him, but I thought that was a very, very enlightening comparison that he gave us there on who Jacory Croskey or Bill Merritt kind of resembles in being Eddie George, because you just think of Eddie George as a taller back, but just Jacory in a shorter stature, but the same type of runner that you had there from
Eddie George.
Eddie
was
George.
real stand-up, right?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, absolutely. But I've heard, and if you watch some of the video, that Jacory is just a very, very hard runner, very, very, just a wrecking ball kind of, I guess, would be the way to categorize it.
How do I say stuff without being disrespectful to your father? Like, if I say, like, a Walter Payton style, or whatever. Like, that's the guy in my mind I always think of, is the dude whose legs just never stopped moving.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I mean, that guy Walter was elusive.
Yeah.
He was just so elusive.
Yeah.
I mean, could cut on a dime and make people miss. And
I remember Eddie George quite well. Ohio State, right? Yeah, I remember him making a real big splash early, right off the bus, for sure.
All right, that's going to wrap up our show for today. Again, we are off tomorrow, and we'll celebrate the Juneteenth holiday, and we'll be back with you on Thursday and Friday of this week. So be sure that you get out and, do something to inform yourself tomorrow about what this Juneteenth holiday means and what it is all about. And we always try to say that on every holiday is learn a little bit about the reason that you've been given this time off by your federal government to honor this particular day in our country. Thanks to Robert Portnoy for joining us. Thanks to Christy and J-Dub. My name is David Kelly. That is our time for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great Juneteenth. We'll talk to you on Thursday at 3 o'clock. DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together, sponsored by O'Reilly Chevrolet. We have some normal slowing around town for westbound I-10 as you approach Orange Grove Road near the construction zone. Also westbound Ajo Way between I-19 and Mission Road. Both very normal for this time of day. We are also seeing a little bit of slowing on 22nd Street and Irvington. That's Irvington and 22nd Street. It is currently 101 outside the studio. Tonight's overnight low 76 and tomorrow's high 105. And I'm Christy with Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. It's time to experience the thrill of the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com. It's free to play. Play for fun and no purchases necessary. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention. If your teen...